Welcome, podcast fans. It's time for the What's Up Bro podcast show presented by j&j Production Studios, the home for all your entertainment needs. All kinds of great topics discussed every week, a variety of different themes offered, special guest appearances, prize giveaways, and so much more. Stay tuned. And now, here are your hosts, Sam Crow and Big Hoss.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast show on the Airway Kingdom Network, brought to you by j&j Production Studios, your one true home for entertainment. I am Sam Crow, along with Big Hoss, and tonight, it is Saturday night, we are joining you live. We have with us in studio, we've been advertising. If you missed it, then this will be the first time you heard it, but hopefully not. We want to welcome a brand new special guest to the show, Mr. Skin and Bones. Welcome to the show. We're glad to have you with us, brother.
What's good with you guys? How you feeling?
We're feeling good. It's Saturday night. This is usually our chill night. This is when we like to rock it out, and we like to provide some relaxing fun and some good times with all the folks at home that like to watch and participate. Which reminds me for you guys, too, is we do have comments open. I know a lot of you guys tend to be shy, but if you want to ask a question during the show, you can. The comments are open. We will take questions if there are any. But we're going to talk a little bit here. We want to get to know a little bit about Skin, and we're going to ask him some questions there. So how we like to start, how we do this, which actually, before we do that, let me get this out of the way. We always have a little business we got to start with, and I may as well start it here because, well, we have to do that. So in case you guys didn't know as well, we want to mention to you guys, point out, you guys can catch all of our information. I'm going to put the information up now, actually. I know we do this. QR code is there. I'm going to leave the ticker off for now. If you guys are not linked to any of our stuff, it is there. You can check it out. But our show is proudly sponsored by our sponsor at Borders, Rare Coins, and Fine Jewelry. If you guys are in need of some extra cash, maybe you have some junk jewelry laying around, contact owner Jeff at 973-390-4606. Free evaluations and estimates are available. There is no pressure to buy or sell. Talk to Jeff. He will work out some deals with you guys. Very reasonable, very fair. Great offers there. You can also visit the website below there at bordersrarecoins.com, where you can buy and sell directly on the site. There's a whole bunch of things you can do. Check that out. The link is on our social media as well as our link tree, which you guys can check out there as well. But if you are in need of some quick cash there and you want to go with the best, we highly recommend Borders, Rare Coins, and Fine Jewelry, located in Hellertown, Pennsylvania. And remember, as always, if you guys do make an appearance there, mention that you heard it on the show here, I will make a personal appearance since it's kind of right near me. So you get a chance to meet me as well. Not that that's maybe much of an incentive, but we throw it out there anyway. So give him a call today. Call or text. Any questions, he'll be happy to answer for you. But proud sponsor of this show. We appreciate that. You guys checking him out today. Okay, just want to get that out of the way so we can jump right in here. So how we like to do this, and what we ask our guests to do, is give us a little – we're going to get more into details about yourself, but tell us a little bit about Skin and Bones. Give us a little background. Help us and our fans kind of know who you are and what you're all about. And again, kind of like a brief monologue of yourself, if you would mind.
Well, for starters, I want to say a shout out to J&J. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Only one, otherwise known as Dean Mussolini to us in the familiar tree. I hail from the Midwest by way of Hollynapolis Republic, Indiana State, or Indianapolis, the home of so many stars. I'm sure you know who they are.
Yep.
I'm of a mestizo birthright, which is a mixture of two or more indigenous likenesses, cultures, Nova Scotian, Chicano, Indian, and Afro-Mexican, which is the Caribbean of Mexico, which is Veracruz and Oaxaca. That's my lineage. But I've been raised here in the States all my life, of course.
Okay.
The upbringing of the knowledge and the science of, the ancestries and from which that derives from. And the legend has it that my grandmother's mother's mother was Empress Ella of Nova Scotia.
Really? Okay.
Going to the waters.
Yeah.
Running from the Pope. Outside of that, on a musical level, of course, there is the Busy Bone Familia Tree, or the Seven Sign Familia Tree, which hails from Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Mm-hmm.
My mentors range from DJ Dragos, who was the Co-creator,
Mm-hmm.
co-producer of Eternal 1999 and Art of War with DJ Unique,
Mm-hmm.
as well as my one-off mentor and producer. And all of this started about 2008. And they had an imprint called Boneyard, was like Violator for
Right.
Bone, Motha type of thing, conglomerate with Dragos and his people. So there
Okay.
was element in that. Uh, Man, Blake Trail, the likenesses of G Clef, the Mad Composer, an
Mm-hmm.
Italian jazz Mataz, essential extraordinaire. Shout out to him. He's also the producer for Brooklyn Zoo, which is Old Dirty Bastards crew. The late Old
Okay.
Dirty Bastard and Buddha Monk is the de facto
Mm-hmm.
leader, or the one who carries the torch now. So
Okay.
yeah, man, everything original hip hop uh and unsung hip hop R&B, man, as well as rock. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
I came up with G Punk, man. So we didn't just keep it gangster. We kept
Right.
it punk rock too.
You got to have origins. Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So this might be a. I know this is like one of the questions I usually like to ask, especially for music artists. But I guess I know it's kind of a broad one. But what drew you to music? Like, what was your inspiration to really get into the industry and really explore the creativeness? And again, everybody has a unique story. That's why we ask. We'd like to hear everybody's unique journey of how they came to this point where they're like, "This is what I want to be. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm called to do," sort of a thing.
Well, I think, man, what it was I came up in a familia that was nothing but music. My grandma Masita, she played the organ,
Okay.
keyboards. I had an uncle who was her apprentice. Of singers, my mamacita, she sang. I had another uncle who could play guitar, which I would let her flirt with the guitar. One
Mm-hmm.
of my cousins was a bass player,
Wow.
and then there are other cousins who did things in music, choir and stuff. But namely, I think Prince was a big inspiration. Michael
Okay. Of
Jackson,
course.
Jimi Hendrix.
Yep.
Even when it came to like these quintessential gospel R&B type artists, John P. Key,
Mm-hmm.
the Winans. I mean, they were talking back then. We're talking late 70s or 80s. They were talking world views. This is Reaganomics, you know. They were
Right.
talking real things, and then of course down the road, Bad Brains, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the Rasta Punk, you know, G Punk group.
Sure.
So it's just a hodgepodge of quintessential unsung experiences or encounters with musicians, and artists that were on vanguard.
Okay. No, that's really cool. I mean, it's I've always said that because I've dabbled there myself there, and everybody has their story of how they come to find themselves. Obviously, it's through some form where they want to express something, or there's always a goal to accomplish. But it's always unique because everybody individually has their own journey. So music, anything art wise, no matter what it is, yes, it's kind of this. It's the same cultural experience in essence, but yet everybody has their own pathway that they forge. So it's always nice to hear that. And obviously you've got a huge background. You've got quite the family tree of music. Like you got it deeply rooted, which is really unique. Which not a lot of us can say that. So it's really a special thing.
Thank you very much.
But you've how long now have you really been from a, I guess the word's a professional standpoint? Like how long has it been since you really got going?
Semi-professionally, I'll say we did our first. We were a part of that MP3.com. That was SoundCloud before MP3s and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So MP3.com, man, we were like number one of the top listened to. We had a split single. My original group was the KFF, or the Candy Femin Family, which is now the Candy, rebranded the Candy Femin Familia, because
Okay.
I kind of absorbed that mythos into the Seven Sign affiliate, Busy Bone slash,
Mm-hmm.
Tang type of connection. And we were like aspiring to be the hodgepodge of Mo Thugs, Wu
Yep.
Tang, Tupac and the Outlaws,
Sure.
and Mob Deep all mixed into one. We had like groups inside of groups, right? So we
Mhm.
were something like maybe a 10 to 15 man group with 5 affiliates inside of the 10-man group, made up of solo artists and groups. So that's kind of how that started, and that was in the late 90s. So I want to say
Wow.
98, but we didn't
Okay.
officially get, if you want to say affiliated, we didn't officially get affiliated with the Busy Bone and the Fam until about, I want to say we met him at the party that my cousin and his partner was doing at a
Okay.
club, and that was 03.
Okay.
And then by 05, we were in Ohio with his co-manager, engineer of the label, and
Mhm.
it just kind of, it went from there. And then we ended up meeting Lazy Bones' right hand man and the producer of the Bone Thugs Sound, Dragos. Then
Yeah.
he took us under his wing and engineered our mixtape, and he used the same sound effects from the Eternal 1999 sound sets.
Oh,
So those
awesome.
effects that you would hear on Eternal, he
Yeah.
used some of those actual effects on our first mixtape, which was called Belly.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, because you, and I like, this is an interesting question for that, just because we obviously are in a new day and age. You know, obviously music has changed over the last few decades. What have you found since, if you go back to like when you started, like back in the 90s, obviously coming into the 2000s, and currently, like, what have you found for you personally, like as far as music goes, as much as it's changed, like is there things like, that you like, how even just from production, how to make tracks, how to make albums, to like, obviously social media changes everything too. That wasn't really huge back in the 90s, but just from the years of that, like what are some of the changes that you've seen, maybe positives or negatives, that have influenced the musical world over the last, 30 years?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I want to say that from where I'm standing, Sam, I don't think that really much has changed. There's vehicles, but the hype,
Hmm.
the the propaganda,
Hmm.
the paparazzi, the rumor
Right.
mill, the facetious cycle or cipher of good versus evil, or higher vibration versus lower vibration. It
Hmm.
in the end becomes an alternate reality, a multiverse of things. It
Okay.
really is just trading off one function or engine for another.
Okay.
Because when you look at MySpace, into Facebook, into UFO or YouTube, into Instagram or Instascam, and
Hmm.
this whole plethora of things that you can do, it's really about the same as it was for punk rock when we would record,
Hmm.
or we would do our demos on a dual cassette deck Emerson,
Wow.
straight in
Yeah.
and mix it that way.
Yep.
And that's cassettes. Now cassettes have come back. Vinyl
Yeah.
has always been up and down. So the CDs are even back. So it's just like really a thing too, where what do you want out of it, and
Okay.
finding a way now to get with the right promotional scheme, or
Hmm.
stream, if you will. So
Sure.
I mean, those are just the things that I look at, because when you see something called mp3.com become mp3s, and that's
Hmm.
something that you download and then they're streaming, or you have to upload them to
Right.
play. Like, there used to be something called mp3.com.
Yep.
Now they're actual things. So when you
Yep.
see that kind of stuff evolve, it's just the same as when we seen Kurt Cobain knock
Hmm.
Michael Jackson off the charts. It's
Yep.
just wild, man. Really, it's wild.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. I mean, I think if anything, the differential is just, especially with digital streaming and everything, I think it just, like you said, affords more channels, more ways to get things out, because back in the day, obviously everything was all hard copy. It was cassettes, it was vinyls, which I'm really glad they are coming back, because they say some classics, they just can't die. They got to come back.
Well, the thing is on that, like, you know, cost efficiency has always been the name of the game for do it yourself.
Yeah.
And there are some of us who, like I said, we come from that punk rock state of mind, even as we are supposed to be thugs, if you will, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. We're a unilateral, universal mind. So we're mixing it up over here with the R&B indie guys. We're mixing it up over here with the BMX bike racers and the
Yep.
skateboarders and the rollerbladers and the roller skaters. And we're mixing it up over here with these, MC thugster geeks. Like that's what we
Mm-hmm.
are, like a gangster nerds, so the
Sure.
gangster punks. So when you have a more alternative swinger spin, and when you've been doing that way before it was cool,
Yep.
because especially if you were like a brown guy, not necessarily whether you were African American or indigenous or Espanol, whatever you were, that was just something that wasn't highlighted a lot. So people like us, we have an edge on it in the so-called hip hop and R&B world
Sure.
because it's so scandalous and so judgmental and so close-minded. So
Mm-hmm.
it was time for us to blow the roof off that motherfucker, blow a hole in the wall so
Yeah.
that we wouldn't be represented all one to the other. There has to be tribes in this. Like
Sure.
how you guys do your thing, it's not
Mm-hmm.
going to be the same as how somebody else does their thing. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it might be in the same vein. So that's kind of how we represent the culture as well. It
Okay.
shows, just like with rock, there's so many alternatives. Well, even now when they look at the rap music, when Bone came in and Wu Tang, or especially
Mm-hmm.
Bone, the rap singing, it was something different. So that's
Sure.
what will always be synonymous with is different.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense, and I think same thing. Like we said, we're doing this. It's not a new thing. It's been done before, but we're trying to put our own stamp on it. Everybody wants to be unique and have their own. We don't want to. We're not trying to copycat anybody. We want to
Claim
be.
to fame, your own
Yep.
claim to fame.
Yep. So, and you think about that, and this actually leads. This is a good question. I ask this a lot because we've had a lot of when we do a lot of artists. We ask this question just because, again, out of curiosity. But when you see a lot of, we'll call it today's artists, where we kind of pose a question this way, we notice a lot of these groups, either bands or individual artists, when they're putting out their craft, obviously music is a form of expression. Everybody has their own unique style. You have your unique voice. You're trying to create your own artwork, which actually the last guest we had on, we said to him, he's an independent indie artist that the feel that his music does is almost like putting paint strokes on the canvas, as I called it, because of the way his style goes. But the question I want to ask you is when you see a lot of these, especially I say younger artists, because obviously if you've been around for a while, which a lot of you guys have been, you see a lot of these guys who want the fame and they want the success. And what they're doing is they're sacrificing their creativeness of their art form or their music just because I don't know if I want to say selling out's the right word, but they just want to do whatever they can to hit that fame and success button. But what that does is they are not being truly unique to themselves because whether they're giving up creative rights, whether they're deviating from their original vision, like whatever their music was trying to say to the world. But what are your thoughts on that? Like, if when you see that, when you have the option, and yeah, you could be rich and famous, but you have to sacrifice the artistic side and your creativity. Would you do that? I mean, how important is the form of your music as your own personal artwork compared to, say, just selling out to a major corporation just to make a few bucks?
Well, I gained a little pun intended skin in the game, you know.
Sure.
So with that being said, though, I'd like to kind of again present the tandem of the what I like to call the multiverse
Mm-hmm.
of music industry or indie pop music, and that's the thing. Like when you look at it, like Nirvana, for example, just to
Mm-hmm.
give an allegory to this, they were viewed to some as selling out when Nevermind came out. But
Mm-hmm.
the crazy part about that was if you go back and listen to their first effort, which was technically Bleach, but you get a chance to hear more of their first efforts on the Incesticide album. But Bleach is
Yeah.
supposed to be what they rendered to the world at the time via Sub Pop.
Mm-hmm.
They admitted that they were kind of fitting a specific niche that they thought everyone wanted to hear. So it's amazing when you look back at it, you can say, "Oh, I can see why they think that Nirvana sold out." But the truth is, they were always making music like that. They just gave the people what they thought they were best suited for at the time. So, use me for example. 2011, Silky Rock plus R&B, when stickies and block spots were the thing instead of
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing now. We actually got like 10,000 downloads worldwide before that was a super possible thing. So you can
Yeah.
say we went viral then. Geo sites with the maps, Japan, Nigeria, we could see where all that was going, right?
Right. Yep.
And so before that, we weren't ready to do the rock plus R&B thing, even though we loved that. That was what we always looked at: Prince, Michael Jackson, Poison, Skid Row,
Mm-hmm.
Guns N' Roses, even in all the punk groups in new wave you can think of from the 80s. But even with that, in the 80s R&B, even with that, we were still listening to Too Short, NWA. So
Right.
the thing is, if you have there's a two polar setting on that, brother Crow, and that's if you're brave enough, you jump right out there and you take a chance. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're strategic enough, then you know it's better to tread lightly and kind of feed the beast slowly. You want to feed people broke down meat and potatoes, not full steak, mashed potatoes and gravy. You know what I'm or not steak and baked potatoes and gravy. You want to get them mashed potatoes and minced meat. So that's kind of what we ended up doing, man, was we ended up kind of getting into a situation where we got into the whole cypher underground era of our life. Then we went into the street mobster and harmony type of thing. We had already got introduced to Bone, so it gave us a little, our Busy Bone family, and that gave us a little energy. And then while that was all doing its thing, by throughout 2004 and 5, we had more of a conservative spiritual experience. And then
Mm-hmm.
we went back and we just meshed both of them, and we did what we did. We got the distribution deal, one of the first online distribution deals. Got it with Bone Thugs producer Mo Thug, Dre Ghost, and so from there we we just rode that horse. We treaded very lightly, man. So by the
Yeah.
time 2011 came, we had did a second release 2010. We had some Wu-Tang producers on that, because the funny thing is, while me and my group were looking to be signed to Death Row or striving to be signed to with the Mo Thugs or whatever, we had another group that was actually more Wu-Tang. There was a guy named Sun One. Shout out to him. He ends up getting signed with M80, who is big for all the verses that you're able to get and buy through Anno Domini. Uh, and he works with Wu Tang Snoop Dogg. So he was a part of the Almighty Clan group, which is the
Mm-hmm.
West version of Wu Tang. Well, we were actually from the same state. So I ended up getting on kind of with the Bone thing. He did the Wu thing. And we actually met in the middle, and he produced for my second indie release. So it's like things are cross their waves. Things will cross the way if you can pace yourself. The sellout aspect comes when you're not truly being true to yourself. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter which way you go. I could have on leather pants and a fishnet hooded shirt today, or I could have on the Bone Thug First of the Month shirt and
Sure.
some shorts with with these
Oh
stretchy
yeah.
Pumas there. And
Yep.
it's just about defining the art as it is. It's about, because I was a painter and a sculptor in high
Okay.
school and had my
Okay.
art displayed, but I was very cautious of where I allowed it to be displayed at, right? So I didn't get
Right.
it displayed on the major floor in high school. I had it like on the second floor where it was ducked off, because
Yep.
I was always very conscientious about how many people are ready, how you put it out there. And even to this day, as we've accelerated in putting out music in this last year and a half to 2 years, because we hadn't been putting out a lot for a while, because my son almost passed away a few years ago.
Oh
But
wow.
now that we're back into it, um, yeah, man, it feels good just to release music because of technology, being able to remix old songs.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I will say that's the best for artist producers like myself. The
Mm-hmm.
accessories and the tools that are allotted us now, Big Hoss and Sam, are very beautiful. So we are like the buffer between the
Okay.
big leagues and the minor leagues.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I can definitely understand that, and that's a great way to point at that. And one of the things that you point out there, which it's another great question for that, because in that same spectrum, because of where I guess you want to say a lot of things now are the quote unquote the political correctness, or there's certain things that censorship, I guess is the better word for that. There's a lot of challenges like with online streaming, like we face that with doing this type of thing in certain platforms. You have a hard time getting certain content out, that's not seen as viable or offensive to some, or whatever the case may be. Do you feel like when that happens, especially in the musical sense, do you feel like that it's harder, or that a lot of the artists are starting to become more reluctant about, being open with their crafting and music, like because they feel, oh, well, if I'm too honest and too forthright, I'm going to be criticized. I mean, there's always going to be criticism. Everybody's got an opinion on everything. But should they again change their culture of their music just because they're afraid of any potential blowback or criticism, or should they stay true? Like you're putting something out there, you want to be true, like not to worry about any kind of censorship or any kind of hindrance on your craft. Like, just like you said, take a chance, go out there and go all guns blazing forward. Like, do you feel like where's your stance on that sort of frame? Take a chance, hold back.
Well, it's funny you say that, because again, the longer that I'm in the longer I'm in this as a semi-professional, the more I realize it's, as much as I hate to admit this, it is all the same. Because when you look at groups like, again, Nirvana, I love to use them. He was a very conscientious writer. He would see things and entendres and puns that would. Did he say that? Wait a minute, run that back. What did he say? Wait a minute. Are those babies with umbilical cords around their neck? No, so it's like there's that aspect, right? But then you can go to the Bad Brains, the Rastapunk group, and they said, "Don't blow bubbles." What does that mean? Oh, wait a minute. Are they Rasta? Or are they punk? I can't tell. And then so you go from that to then you go to Bone, and you're like, okay, but they're singing like they're in choir, but they're saying some real gangster ass shit. Are they good? Are they kind people? Or do I want to meet them, or am I scared? And so then when you compare them to 3 6 Mafia, you're like, oh God, where's Bone Thugs? These guys just talked about body parts. So it's just like, it's always been going on.
Sure.
But to what end? To what end do you subscribe it, saying, and subscribe it, you know what I'm saying? So we coming up, man, we took to Bone and Mo Thugs because they were the thugs that you could bring to the cookout, man. You didn't want to bring DJ Paul to the cookout because it's spooky, and you might not get invited back. They're like, well, you can come, but if you come, don't bring those guys again. So it's just like, oh, what is your cup of tea, right? But even when Bone first came out, they were sketchy, I remember we used to dress kind of homely because, we came up in that first of the month era. And back in those days, if they said you looked like Bone Thugs, it was a slant. It wasn't a compliment. You see what I'm saying? And now they're on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, right? So it's like, so according to your faith and power, so be it unto you. If you have your first mind not to do it, you probably should listen to your first mind and don't do it.
Yeah, that usually a big fan of, think before you speak kind of thing. I think that's kind of why things sort of blow up when they do is, and again, I'm not saying it from like people shouldn't be creatively expressive. They shouldn't, speak your mind. You shouldn't do that. But I think that's the other old adage too. There's a time and a place for everything too. You got to know, like, when to hold them, when to fold them, when to put it in, when to do it, when not to do it.
My grandmama Sita used to always say, know when to hold it, when to fold it, when to walk away. The Gambler, Kenny Rogers. And see, there's another splinter of the multiverse. Why this is important for us to realize. You don't know a person until you get to know them. So it's not fair to those, because you got to think, someone like me who looked up to the Bone Thug in Familia style. I was already in choir growing up, singing and stuff, but then I was also a part of the street life. So when you and coming from a shamanic background as a third generation shaman, um, taking on that mantle, it I guess you could call it a twisted mix. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As you get older, or as you get more mature, and you have a child or two or whatever more, however many people have more children, you begin
Hmm.
to know like how to chisel yourself even more. And as a profession outside of music, I also do bodyguard work and
Okay.
security. But when I first started out in that profession, I was a
Yeah.
mountain. So when
Okay.
you're seeing the world from safety, non-safe, risque, non-risque, it's just like, what part of the pie do you want to eat first? Do you want the crust or do you want the soft? You know what I mean?
That's fair. I usually say this, and this is gonna date me a little bit, but I'm I'm old school enough where I'm not that old, but I'm young enough to remember back in the day when the stuffed crust, the cheesy was, if it's a stuffed crust, I'm going crust first.
Mm-hmm.
But that makes a lot of sense. I think it's again, that's that personal preference there, and we see it across our culture and society where again, it's everybody's got that opinion. Everybody's got I'm a big fan of, listen, you have a voice for a reason. You should be sharing your thoughts. You shouldn't be afraid to share anything. Um, because that's basically what our country specifically was founded on, was the rights and beliefs of everybody individually.
Well,
It's unfortunate that
not to cut your
no,
wisdom,
go ahead.
Pro, but
No, go
most
ahead.
people don't even know. They fail to acknowledge that anytime you see one of our beloved politicians, the American flag on one side and the Moroccan flag on the other,
Mm-hmm.
there was a treaty of peace and friendship that was established in the
Yeah.
1700s. So that moment there began our intercontinental venture of self-awareness as not just an Asiatic place or
Mm-hmm.
a Whigamore place, but a place in which all shades, one paradise
Yeah.
existed and found a way to coexist. And
Yep.
this is why when you're talking to different shades of brown, gray, or black and white, or whatever you want to call it, it
Mm-hmm.
boils down to your culture. Because like I said on the last podcast, no one has the right to just single you out because of the shade of your skin. If they don't know
Absolutely.
your background, it's a
Yep.
bit apprehensive and a preemptive strike to nowhere. So again,
Absolutely.
when we learn culture of some sort, when we learn about the indigenous people, the indigenous foundational Americans, we'll
Yeah.
kind of understand that the so-called hip-hop culture was more based off the Asiatic indigenous premise than it ever
Exactly.
was the modern day African American. And when
Yeah.
African American understands that as a whole, their contribution and participation in hip hop and R&B will
Mm-hmm.
mean so much more, because the Whigamore and the Caucasian American enter in and understand it to such a length and degree that they're able to profit off of it more. So that's why it's fair. There's
Yeah.
nothing unfair about it. If you do the work, you eventually get what's coming to you.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. And when you look at it, and I've looked at this, I research studied this too, and there's that whole, I think the sense of the whole, ignorance. Ignorance is always dangerous, and I think that's a lot of what led to, like, with racism and stuff. It's fear of the unknown, but you have to have the understanding, because if you don't understand something, it's easy to be afraid of it, right? Because we don't know what it is. But if you don't question or explore that, or we say too, I love to hear other people's viewpoints. Like, I want to know about your background, share with me, because I want to learn, so I understand it. I'm not afraid of it in general, but some people, they kind of come off and say, well, it's a little intimidating for me, and they automatically make that judgment call and say, well, if it's not fitting for me, then I just don't want a part of it. It's got to be bad, which I think is obviously a wrong mentality, because you're closing that door before it even opens.
Well, it's like Dixie Chicks and Dolly Parton and
Yeah.
Reba on one side versus the ladies in country I don't know.
Right.
You see
Exactly.
what I'm saying? But watch
Yep.
this. I'm going to spin your guys' brain right now. Who do I really want to go out on a date with? I want to go on a date with Dolly Parton, not Nicki Minaj.
There you go.
Though. And then you ask yourself a question. You're like, but why? And that's where you said is ignorance versus education, or one who finds themselves
Understands.
understanding or understanding. So even with that, Then you get into the whole country rock and cowpunk, like Everclear, who you
Mhm.
talked about, their Oregon and Pennsylvania based group
Yep.
that was kind of like country rock's answer to Nirvana. So when you're
Mhm.
looking at these kind of things that you're versed in, it's bigger than just wearing t-shirts. I'm not knocking people who do, because
Right.
it's helping feed them because they're buying the merch.
Yeah.
But you listen
Exactly.
to Takashi 69 or a Trippy Red, you can't say that they're not artists, man, because you're not listening to their lyrics. Because guess what? They said the same thing about HR from Bad
Mhm.
Brains, and they said the same thing about Bone Thugs and Harmony. They called
See.
them Martians, they called them Chinese, they sound like Mexicans. Very, very. This was coming from African Americans, though. Very
Yeah.
racist stuff from their
Yeah.
own people.
Yep.
It's weird. Very weird.
I know. Well, and that's the thing. Like, and it's not. This is like I said. This is just a viewpoint. I share this, and it's not a political realm. It's not to cause controversy too. But like when it's the same thing. Like you look at the BLM movement, right? Black Lives Matter movement. Okay,
Right.
I understand the preface it. Now again, that was actually started by white folks, which most people don't understand that.
Right.
My thing is like I said, I look at it as I think all lives matter. It's not one race or sect or another. I understand the persecution side of it, and that's why it's targeted at more of a specific group.
Right.
But when you look at humanity like as a whole, because again, I say this too. I'm not what the difference between you and me is what skin color, but everything else is all the same.
Skin
So
tone.
why? What's that?
Skin tone.
Skin tone, right? Yeah, but so
tone is only skin deep, but love is to the bone, brother.
exactly. So, what really, and that's why when you look back at all the years, the hatred that's why I say ignorance, the
Well, let me say this.
indifferences.
Because we're on something that's beautiful, and it's always a pleasure to be able to talk to. This is where we break the barriers. You have to understand. This is what Wu-Tang and Bone/Mo Thugs did for the culture. This is why you're talking to someone this is why you can have such an intricate conversation.
Yep.
Because I come from that tree.
Yep.
If there's real gully, gritty hip hop big dogs, and they love you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love you, and I don't have to know you to love you, my brother. And so that's why to this day, the biggest groups from hip hop history, out of that gold, you want to call it golden, silver, modern age of the 90s, will always still be the Wu, Zoo, and it'll be Bone, Mo Thugs. You know what I'm saying? Because we're on harmony, brother. We're on insurrection of the consciousness. We're on awareness. That's why I said I love stuff like Everclear and X rock cowpunk bands, because they went up against they challenged the narrative of normalcy. They challenged the regularness and brought irregularity. They were like, so what is the best way to get people who normally don't like punk?
Mm-hmm.
What we do is just get that punk groove and that country state of mind, man.
Yep.
And the same thing when you're looking at hip hop. Ghetto Cowboy came from Mo Thugs. No one up except for blues, rhythm and blues artists of the times in the 30s, 40s, and 50s had ever done such a song up till then.
Yep.
And it's a pop song now. You see what I'm saying? So when we're focused on, like you said, what makes Armaquinos, what makes America great, again, it's the hodgepodge of the struggle. So when you're talking that BLM thing, the thing is that it's impossible for there to be the foundational American thing, because when you say foundational Black, you have to think when you're going on when you're going on a national status, you have to look at it from like, what flag are we all under, and where do we come from? That's why I say culture matters. Learn to trace back your heritage before you just want to put a label on yourself. I myself would never call you guys white, because that's a smack in the face to your ancestors. You could be Swiss, you could be Irish, you could be Frank, you could be from the France or anything. So this is why I say that the thing that makes America the greatest republic of all republics, is that people ran from one place, came to another. Yes, a lot of people made mistakes. Yes, slavery existed in
Yeah.
so many forms and facets, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? And let me
Yep.
also say this in final. Those who were slaves, when they had an opportunity to do better, if you want to call them bed wenchers or whatever, they took the opportunity to do what they did.
Yeah.
To this day, we call them, thoughts. To this day, they take the biggest buyout. It's nothing new.
Yep.
Whatever survival was for those people, for
Mm-hmm.
our people, for your people to get a better break, some of them did that. So
Yeah.
when we appreciate that and respect it as it is, nobody can point a finger at anybody because no one is above the reproach of it all.
No, I agree. I love
Hip
that.
hop,
And
rock or not, whatever you want to pop, flop, or drop.
no, I agree with you. This is why, like, for me, I love history. I love understanding cultures, understanding where I come from. I'm very proud. I'm from all over Europe. I got my Indian heritage. We all have parts of that, and I always tell people when they ask, find out where you come from, understand yourself better by knowing where your roots are, because most people don't even, it's such a rare quality. We all have such unique family trees, right? Because we all have family that comes from all over. And a lot of us don't even bother to explore that. Where do we come from? And I don't mean just in the country where we're at, like your own family. Like I've got my family, like most, came from the old country. They are immigrants. They came here. I learned about where they came from, why they came here, why did they come here? They wanted, land of opportunity, right? Which is usually what most immigrants come here for. And understand that, because as we said earlier too, ignorance is such a powerful thing that people, you got to educate yourself. You got to be mindful of what's out there. Like, we live in a digital age, right? So, and I had this debate with friends. You may have had this with people too. Like, everything I read on the internet, well, you can't believe everything you read because it's not all. It's like the tabloids, right? So
See, that's what I was talking about earlier. Remember when I said nothing's new under the sun or the moon?
Yep.
Stars,
Yep.
except living and dead people, because that's what I was trying to say, is that just like there are press releases that are going to be put out for me or you, however it does, like this alone, I think that this is the closest as we can get to the raw, unadulterated in the mix. I mean, because we had Entertainment Tonight, we had Hard Copy, Dateline, all these different things that were coming out that was kind of trying to give us a bird's eye view into 60 seconds. So now that stuff has kind of turned into, the blog, in streaming era, going live era, it really is still the same. Because I was just thinking before I got on here, I said, it's crazy because here in this house, it looks like an Amazon factory,
right?
The way it's up, but it's not leaking. You don't see flies in the background. But you got people that'll take pictures of their brand new shoes. That'll be, they got a little corner pocket, studio room that they're living out of. So it's just like you never know till you know. But the beauty about these kind of things is people get a presence for it.
Yeah.
And it's work either way. To get online, like we were supposed to do it a week ago, and I was like tired because of whatever we've been doing. So to like really happening, and to get on this, the platform now. And who thought that we'd have went this long on the geopolitics of just life in general? And that's when you realize what artists are really in the mix of humanity, man.
Yep.
And that may be a good and a positive thing, but we still make the world go round. I am the proto mumble rap, you know what I'm saying? Entendre. I am the reason why your Takashis, your Trippy Reds, your designers exist. Bone and Busy are the reason why I exist.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? And it just like that.
Yeah, no, that's how we feel. Like, again, for us, in short, when we started this journey too, like we started with just one basic show. We wanted to make a statement on podcasts. Again, it wasn't anything new. People have been doing it, but COVID obviously, gave us time to really reflect, because when we were, all cooped up and nowhere to go, you had to find some way to reach people, right? So we started this. Now we have we're starting to network. We've got other folks. Like for me, and I know Big Hoss feels the same. It was, we want to make a statement here. I'm not trying to outdo anybody, but I do want to be. I want to do something special with podcasting. We want to put our own stamp on it. I'm not out to crush the competition per se. Everybody's got their own mission, their own statement. If I can help other people, I will. But that's where, same thing. We pull from inspiration. We pull from the late night shows. We pull from us as we want to educate people. We want to provide some fun and some relief, but at the same time, we want to be positive. Whether that's comic relief to get people a little bit of a break from their woes for the week, or if we can teach you something new, I don't know. I would hope so. That's sort of the forefront of it, because again, it's edifying people and understanding. It's pointing out those concepts that maybe people don't think about. We want to challenge people. I don't want to offend people, but I also want to make sure that people know information is real. Same thing when we say, if you're reading something on the internet, make sure you fact check it. Don't just take it straight up, because anybody can put anything. We see that today, right? All the tabloids and all the media stuff goes right to internet, digital. That's the digital age. So, I've had people say oh, well, I looked this up on someone on Wikipedia. Well, that's great. But you understand that Wikipedia is open to the public for interpretation, where people can put their own, thoughts in. I'm not saying people are wrong necessarily.
Well, let me say this about what they did to us, what they did to the Seven Sign. When Busy did a restructuring in 20, I want to say, late 2010, 2011, Free Q Loco, who's like the Damon Dash of if Busy Bone is Jay-Z, Q Loco was the Damon Dash.
Okay.
In a way.
Yep.
And he's like the Damon Dash / Jim Jones. And the thing is that when when our Wikipedia was being set up, Denny, he would oversee a lot of that stuff, and they would snatch our stuff down though.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of sometimes things like that are as close as accurate as you can get. Now, for someone like myself, who through my assistant manager and partner of 30-something years, who is also a Caribbean by way of Jamaica, Mandyville. What's up, Black Dappy Skinny Man, Black Alabaster Woo, man. He put me on with the technology, right? And we got into finding a way to use the digital world even after that. And I say that to say this, that as I showed you, the information we sent you, you'll never guess where it was from. AI.
Wow.
So what I'm getting at is, this is where it gets real. This is where all the data and information about someone is going to show you in the future if it is true or not. Because for someone like myself, I remain a presence because technology via the internet has had my info for so long that AI automatically picked it up and has fact-checked it itself.
Wow.
So that's why if you go there and put in Skin and Bones rap singer or Holly Napolis, there's no way that I can run or hide. So I say this, when you do interviews like this for yourself or your platform with individuals like me, just like when a single was being promoted on, I don't know if you know this, but on Spotify, we had a single promoted. It carried the whole EP.
Oh, okay.
Real time of records, like the way records were back in the day. So like Crossroads, when Dragos and when DJ Unique went to Dragos and asked him to make a remix for the Crossroads, the story goes that the remix Crossroads that everybody knows was outselling not just the original Crossroads, but it was outselling the whole album. It is now Diamond, right? So the awareness of that song, because of the video, it too as well, is what made Even Bone a bigger thing, a bigger presence. So
Okay.
that's what I'm saying about Skin and Bones. You'll see Rag and Bone. You'll see this other guy in Chicago who tried to rip my name off, named Skin Bone, and he's a comedian. But AI will break it down now because it exists and be like names that you get confused with. And my name is also similar to the Big Bone, Flesh and Bone. My name is similar to that. But see, now you can't run and hide because AI will identify your ass. So people can't run and hide and clone, use other people's identities to try to make their own thing, right? And that's the only thing I will say about Google and AI and what's going on in the internet now. Is when you're really working hard, like I have for the amount of time you say I have. This organism is giving me my flowers on top of all the interviews that we have in the past. And that's a positive thing. The negative thing, though, is if you get enough smut media garbage, that's when you're on the Titanic and you got to get yourself out of that before you fucking drown.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate byproduct from that too. And I guess it's true what they say. Is it for good? Is it for evil? I guess it depends on the wielder. Depends on who.
The intent.
Yep.
Just like the mystic arts, it's not the mystic arts that are bad. It's the intent in which you use it. Like this platform, I'm not using it to defame the creator and the code creator. I'm not using it for anything other than to keep everybody informed that Skin Bones is still here and he's rocking and he's rolling and he's doing it for the indie pop culture. He's doing it for the hip hop culture. He's doing it for the mumble rap singing culture. He's doing it for the G-punk culture, and he's doing it for the house R&B and R and drill culture. Man, we got all these facets of music industry, indie or mainstream, and that's what we do it for. We genuinely do it for that. So.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And again, it's the same adage not to over go on it, but it's like, I've said this, use the example of, I know there's a lot of things going on in the world, violence has picked up, shootings, this and that. But again, you look at the culture of, and they say, oh, well, there's got to be a restriction, guns. Listen, guns don't kill people. People kill people. So it's not the weapon; it's the tool in someone's hand. I'm not saying it where it should be free willing. I think people obviously with weapons of any kind, it should be education. You should be properly trained. But if you're blaming the instrument for causing it, well, the instrument's got to go in somebody's hand. So it's the person, it's the intention. What is the intent of the wielder? What are they doing with it?
Well, when you take it there, then you got to look at it like this. How do we confirm what Brother Crow is saying? A lot of presidents died behind guns. Did they deserve it?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm just saying, did Reagan deserve to get? It wasn't a black guy or an Asiatic or an indigenous person that shot him as one of his own people or kind.
Yeah.
So again, it was the person. So when you're talking about one of my faves, JFK and RFK, what about that?
Yep. Right.
Why didn't they attack guns then?
Exactly. Or you could go further. Martin Luther King. I mean, obviously,
the reason I left him out is because let's go mainstream. Let's go what people pay attention to. Okay, let's do even better. Did George Wallace of the South deserve to get put in a wheelchair just because he said the reason why I stopped fighting for the South is because I found out that my people want to be told that they're better instead of being better?
Yep.
He deserved to get shot because of that?
Right.
His own people shot him, though.
Yep.
It's kind of weird, right? I mean,
when you think about it, yeah.
Very weird. Very weird. So I'm just saying that to confirm what you said.
No, absolutely.
Once we start taking the focus off of the actual bipartisan product and we're getting into the byproduct, that's just like I said again, skin tone.
Yeah.
You can genetically engineer yourself to pigmentate your skin if you wanted to these days. So what could anyone say if they didn't know the truth? And it's like we got to start going behind the iron curtain of things.
Right.
Just like when you look at how, the former Russia is doing what they're doing. If you don't live there, be concerned. But what about America's backyard? What about our people?
Yep.
What about our safety for those of us that have children?
Exactly.
About the children's safety. I'm not
Yep.
against any alternative lifestyle. But if I have a daughter, do I want someone who still has the parts of a man around her in the restroom?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying. That's all I'm saying. I love my agency, but I'm saying, but do I want that as a father though?
Right.
And that's where it kind of clashes. It's like my right as a protecting male figure and someone that I give birth to
Sure.
versus just your desires and agenda. That's where it
Yeah.
clashes.
And again, it all goes back to the same thing. It's understanding, educating yourself to know these things, as opposed to people just taking the face value of it. Like, do that research, understand and dive deep, and really, knowledge is power, because the more you know, obviously it opens a lot more doors, right? So and most people will say, they use every excuse in the book why not to. Oh, it's too hard for me to understand. Well, did you try? Did you try to open that book to read it? Did you try to listen to someone else's opinion, or did you, close that door before it even got started? So it's those little, nuances that you have to ask, which are really good. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. We're going to take a short pause. We're going to give you guys a bathroom break. If you need some refreshment, now's a good time. Stick around, though. We're coming back. We're going to play a short commercial, some tracks for you guys. We're going to come back here, talk more with our special guest, Skin and Bones. We're going to get a lot of great stuff, and we're having a great time. We're going to have some friends come on. I think they're going to jump in and join us. So we're going to kind of turn this into hopefully more of a party feel. So we're going to kick it back and hang out. We're really enjoying that. And we're really glad to have you with us. I hope you're having a good time. I know I am. I'm sure Big Hoss is.
You're
So
probably one of the most intellectual minds outside of Mr. Reynolds that I've had the pleasure of speaking with. I think it's turned into more of a dichotomy forum, and I think that that's so important, especially for people like myself. If you've done the research on me, you'll see that I'm as a G punk. I mean,
mhm.
yeah, I have the thug in my blood, but I'm saying as someone who cares about the community, there goes again, or there lies the misconception in
Yeah,
the dichotomy. Just because we come from the streets doesn't
right.
mean we haven't been in the temples, the churches, the synagogues, and the palaces, and the political buildings. So
Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. No, and huge shout out to Mr. Reynolds, a good friend of ours. We've known him for a couple years now. Definitely, we've done quite a few collabs. And actually, he was the one that kind of connected us. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, I want to connect you guys." I said, "Hey, sure. I'm always looking for interesting folks to talk to who want to come on." So we're definitely glad for that. But we're gonna talk more, you guys. We'll take a short break. Now's the time. Take a restroom break. We'll be back for more. We're not going anywhere. We're just going to pause for just a couple minutes. We're going to recalibrate. We're going to come back. We're going to have a good time. Keep leaving the comments for Poe. If you want to come in, hopefully you'll jump in with us. I know he wants to jump in here, so we're going to get him in. But tune in, guys. Hope you're enjoying that. Plenty more to come here. Don't go away. We got lots more we're going to talk about when we come back. I'm going to put the screen up so you guys can't see us there, but we'll be right back for more. Don't go away. Plenty more here at the What's Up Bro podcast show, brought to you, of course, on the Airway Kingdom Network and j&j Production Studios, your one true home for entertainment. We will be back right after this for more. I think we have to mute ourselves. I don't think we're going to mute. So if you guys want to just put your mics on mute for a bit, we're going to play some tracks for the audience, play a couple commercials. We're going to come back for more. So stay tuned. Don't go away. You don't want to miss what's coming up next at the show there. Thanks you guys for hanging out. Happy Saturday night to everybody. Hope you're having a good one. Hope this is a great start to your weekend. And we're really having a good time. We hope you guys are as well. So stick around for more. Come on back right after this. We'll see you in just a moment.
Hey there! Enjoying the show? Do you want even more great content? Then check out linktree.com/J&J Production Studios, where you'll find everything you need for the entertainment you deserve, such as links to your favorite streaming services where our podcast shows are featured. Find and connect with us on your favorite social media and live streaming platforms. The official studio channel on YouTube. Like and subscribe today. Our official studio store where you can find all kinds of great merchandise. Would you like to support us? You can do so by getting your own exclusive membership on our Patreon account. Do you want to ensure you don't miss a single bit of detailed information? Then have it sent directly to you by joining our emailing list. Stay up to date on all the latest from j&j Production Studios. Thank you so much for listening. We love and appreciate all your support, and until next time, we'll see you at the show.
We'll be right back to the show with more in just a moment. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back to the show with more in just a moment. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back to the show with more in just a moment. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back to the show with more in just a moment. Please stay tuned.
Grab me a beer. I didn't think so. I just thought of that.
Do what you want, do what you want, do it. Do what you want, do what you want, do it.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. It takes a minute to get everything off. Hey, what's up, everybody? If you're just tuning in, welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast show. Brought to you by J&J Production Studios, your one true home for entertainment on our newly minted Airway Kingdom network, where you guys can find a plethora of shows that we have to offer and feature, plus collabs, plus a whole bunch of things, which... actually, let me do that. I got to turn this off first. I'll do a little promo here. Let me turn this off. You guys saw the link. If you want more, check out our link tree for more details. Be sure if you like interviews like this one with our special guest, Skin and Bones, make sure you check out our YouTube channel, like and subscribe for more content like this. We do set things up ahead of time so you'll get notified when new episodes are coming out. Please make sure to like and follow us all across social media. That was also on our link tree. We're all available there as well. But you can catch the likes of the shows, like some of our affiliates there, one of our newer shows, music, movie, sports, and stuff, hosted by Bill Van Vagel, new proud partner and newly added addition to our network. You can also, as we mentioned, our good friend, Mr. Houdini Reynolds, you can check out interviews on Vigilantes Radio, which I've appeared on several times. It's actually how I met Dini. and got on some shows with him. You guys can check that out. Who else do we have? I think we have someone else. Check out David, one of our newer, younger participants here, and his show. This is one of his YouTube channels, 3000 Hangouts. I do a lot of gaming. You guys can check that out. Also, you guys have seen me on the show with Deanie's brother Swift, Voice of the Fans Sportscast, all things we talk sports. A lot of fun, a lot of entertainment. You guys can check that out. We also stream them here as well. And oh yes, of course, you have seen us with myself and Big Hoss and our other friend Pagosi. Our other show, we have the Three Amigos podcast. New episode was out this weekend, or actually on Thursday. We have a new episode coming out this week. But again, all that is probably on
surprise episode last night.
Yeah, there was one last night. We did that too. But all part on Airway Kingdom Network there. I hope you guys enjoy that. So we're going to jump back in here. We're talking a lot of great stuff there. This is kind of fun. Actually, I was going to say to Big Hoss, if you want to reach out to Poe and tell him if he wants to jump in, if he's available. I know he said talking about coming in, so send him a message, let him know.
I'll send him a message and let him know.
Yeah, because we'll do some more questions, but we got some interesting topics. I will say it's fun because here's the thing. We'll give you some background for our show is, and this is just for fun. We share this especially if anybody's new listening too. But ours is we do have some structure to it. But what I always like to say is what makes our shows unique is, especially when we have guests, we absolutely love to let the guests kind of lead where the conversation goes. We've had some pretty interesting shows. You could probably imagine because I say a lot of times people always ask, I do a lot of the production work for the shows and stuff, and so. The question is, how do you, what do you do? Do you have a script for the show? The honest answer is the way we format it is no, I kind of throw the script out the window. I do have some formatting ideas for what the show should do, but I like to have it be raw and natural and kind of let it take on a life of its own because I find the best creativity usually comes from spontaneity a lot of times. And so, we've had shows where I can think of one guest we had, one musical guest that came on where I still laugh about it because I sort of had an idea where I wanted the interviews to go, and she's a really great person. We're trying to get her back on the show with her band, but the interview just went so completely out of left field because we ended up kind of like tonight. If you guys missed the early part, you can check this out. This episode will be up on our YouTube channel, which I will share the link, and we'll share it for Skin and Bones. We'll give you that too. You guys can share that everywhere. If you missed this live, you can catch the rebroadcast. It'll be available. But the conversation a lot of times just goes completely one direction. And when that happens, I just say, hey, it's like a sailboat. You put the sail down, let the winds take you where they may, right? So there's no right or wrong answer. I feel anyway. I don't know if anybody else feels that way with whatever we're doing, but it just kind of makes it nice when you kind of do that. So, but we're talking about a lot of great things. And I was thinking about this during the break too, where I think our theme tonight's kind of been really understanding and knowing, not being ignorant and being self-aware and all that sort of stuff. And again, it's not to get too in depth a lot, but we want to draw focus to it because there's a lot of things happening in the world today. Obviously, one of the sad things I hear, I don't know if a lot of you guys have heard this too, but like most people say, I don't watch the news, I don't want to get involved, I don't want to know. I can kind of understand, the scary parts of why you don't want to read certain things. But then at the same time, it's kind of like, how do you keep up with what's happening? It's like an ostrich who buries their head in the sand. How do you know what's going on? Like, you can't run from it, right? So, what do you find? Like, I don't know for you, Bones, when you hear people, whether it's, with music or anything, when they say, again, the ignorance is just there, you can kind of tell. And they're like, well, I bet I'm better off not knowing because it can't hurt anybody, and I kind of keep things to myself. How do you address that with people when you talk to maybe friends or people you collab with or work with? When you hear that kind of like, I guess you could kind of say negativity. Like, what are some of your reactions to that sort of stuff when people say, I just don't want to know, or I don't want to be involved, or I'm better off not knowing?
Hold on.
Sure.
Oh.
Station pause. No, kidding.
Yeah.
Everything happens there. So go ahead.
So yeah, well, the thing is I kind of look at it like this. I look at it as it just depends on the decorum, man. It depends on what you're getting out of it. Like so many times it's all conversation until it's not.
Right.
It's all words until they form sentences.
Yep.
And then once it forms sentences, it's going to define meaning, or it's going to define, perspective. It's going to define a thought process,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to define feelings.
Yeah.
And once it
Yeah.
defines feelings, now we're getting out of our skin and we're getting into the bone of the individual or the individuals. So,
Right.
for an example, people I don't think are very aware that there are different genres. I mean, those that do the research still figure it out, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people realize how vast the punk community in itself. Like when you hear G punk or Afro punk, people are like, "What?" You know what I mean? Or
Yep.
cow punk or country punk or hip rockabilly or rockabilly punk.
Mm-hmm.
Those types of genres or genres are very um off the grid, controversial, like they're kind of like the alternative to what people initially are used to, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's goth punk or pop punk, the mainstream ideology of what someone think punk is, until
Right.
they get invested into what even the punk mythos is.
Mm-hmm.
Punk in essence, it's just a more pure form of keeping it gangster.
Sure. Yeah.
Some
That.
people in the urban communities will say gangster rap, but someone who just doesn't want to use that complete and total term will say punk.
Yeah.
You could put rocker or thug behind it, but punk in essence was about analyzing and shredding the systematic debris of what politics in the medium or mediocreness of what blue collar and white collar was supposed to mean at the time it was thriving. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's more of an industry, it's more of a product versus the revolution that it started out being. And we can say that about a lot of things, but
Sure.
that's just the process of life. So when I sit down and I'm in a circle or cipher of discussion, before I even allow myself to get invested into it, I have to kind of use my feelers and ask myself, is this something that I even want to be invested in before I'm divested of all security and safety precautions?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Again, that's a good way to look at that. And I think for a lot of people, it goes back to the diverse viewpoints of everybody is so. I think today more so probably than ever because of digital technology and because of everything, internet being what it is and all that sort of stuff. Everybody's just so over opinionated that it seems like, and maybe it's just me, but it seems like people are really just chiming in with viewpoints. I mean, you can go on social media and see, I've seen, I don't know how many debates and discussions about different topics where not necessarily like earth shattering or big world changing things, maybe just like simple topics, but how people really just, they dive deep and they go at each other. And my thing too is like, why are people spending so much time arguing with others? Like, why are we fighting amongst ourselves when, again, the whole point isn't it to just educate and help understand? Like, even music's that too. It's the universal language trying to like really get messages across. And you see people, and I think to myself a lot, I've said this to someone recently too, there's so many problems in the world that on a large grand scale that should be a focal point of our attention, yet we are nitpicking and having seriously harsh debates / discussions / arguments over the minuscule things that don't seem to make much sense, on a grand scale. So, again, I don't know. And that's why, our platform and platform for artists too is trying to help get points across, but yet, in a manner that like we share. And we always say this, we preface for our shows, you may not agree with everything that we say. I'm not saying you have to. We're just sharing opinions. We're sharing our voice there. So, don't take it personal. Don't take it as, we are right by default. We're just trying to give some thought and insight to where topics of discussion, where conversations, and sometimes we touch on these big things that are going around. Not a lot, but sometimes, there's a big story that focuses there. We try to do that. So I don't know. I don't know how your thought too. I just think it's sad when people waste so much time and they bring so much negativity to tearing each other down over things that we really shouldn't be. It's always, they say, it should be uplifting your fellow man, not tearing them apart and not going for the jugular. Everybody's got to go for that kill shot. They got to go in there. Why do we have to tear each other apart? Why do we have to smite one another and tear each other down? It's like me saying for you, why do I have to degrade you and bring you down? Does that make me feel better? Does that make me a bigger person?
Well, unfortunately, communication is in fact an art form.
Yeah.
Many people know that. And because they lack the skill or willpower, or self-induced ingenuity.
Mm-hmm.
An example meaning not motivating themselves to want to engage to a point to where everybody's experience. I won't even say opinions. I'll say this is the era in which I speak your experiences.
Yeah.
As long as you speak your experiences, the opinions won't. They can't hurt anybody, because at this point in 2026, if somebody's, don't get me wrong, somebody's experience is going to make you feel lesser than, that's a personal problem, and only a person can deal with their personal problems, whether it's on or off a screen or whatever. But the thing is, Brother Crow, is that when I think about everybody that's now investing themselves in social media platforms, when I think about my backyard here in Indianapolis, Republic, and how I had to spread my wings from point A to point B to C and so forth, because the backdrop of this place and what it once was as opposed to what it is now. So imagine being someone who, when they put out their first notable release, was being played on Xboxes overseas.
Yeah.
And to still be ground level with the people you love or don't love. And then years later, you see like, okay, accessibility for said artist or design is worldwide spread, and accessibility is infinite almost. It boils down to the nub of, do you have a plan? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The plan in which you wish to communicate, make the connection, or make the disconnection. It's really up to you. It's only up to you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great interpretation of that too. And this is where, again, we say this, and I'm a big believer that, when you have a voice, you should use it. You got to share it, because I mean, when we don't say anything, again, ignorance is not always bliss, as they say. So when you hide away from that and you run from things, and I've had many conversations with people over different things where I use the same term back, like, if you're too afraid to take an action on something, and I love this quote, I'm pretty sure it's from Theodore Roosevelt, it's better to try and fail than never have tried at all. So, and if you look at it historically, like where our culture, where our country has come through all the times of, here we are coming up this summer is going to be a 250th birthday of this country. You look at all the struggles, all the fights, what our founding fathers went through, the bloodshed, the wars that helped to cultivate where we are. If risks weren't taken, if decisions weren't made, And right or wrong, whichever side of the fence you want to fall on, obviously things happen. You can't change. History is written in stone. You can't change it once it's written, of course. But you learn from that and say the idea, and this is what I've always heard, especially when you're in school, you hear this, the idea is we learn from history so we can help shape the future and we can build a better future. Especially for generations now. I'm like I said, I'm getting older. I'm still old school enough where I love technology, but there's something to be said about the old methods of pen and paper and calculating. And I love texting. I love social. I love all that stuff. Don't misunderstand me. Obviously, it's the wave of the future. It's what we're living now. But when you're dependent on certain things, like I say for younger generations, don't always depend on all the digital stuff, because what happens if you have a massive power outage, right? Like if a Y2K happens.
Absolutely.
So you gotta understand and go back to the basics. I've been reading up a lot, learning like our ancestors, farming, learning like our Native American heritage, how to hunt, how to fish, how to survive. Most kids don't know how to make a bowl of soup, let alone cook.
Wow.
So, and I'm not saying that to be mean to anybody. It's just, I've heard people say like to do math. Like I'm not a math expert, but I can do basic math in the head. And I'm like, you can't do math. It's a simple math problem. Like you didn't pay attention in school. Or the age old favorite is, they say the cursive, the handwriting. We all learned that in grade school, right? At least back in the day.
Right.
People like, I can't read that. Letters written in this fancy handwriting. Well, that's cursive. I learned that in like fourth grade. That was fourth grade English. That was fourth grade writing. Like, old methods of, how to communicate. And instead of texting, can you write a letter to somebody? There's these things called letters with stamps back in the day. We didn't have texting. Didn't even have emails back in the day.
Right.
I had pen pals. I had friends across the country. I had friends in other countries in the world. What did I do? I wrote them letters. We didn't have internet until internet came along. Was great, but understanding and knowing how to do basics, how to function. Like I say this too. And I don't know how you feel your opinion here, but and I don't want to say this to be insulting anybody watching. So please don't misunderstand me. This is my viewpoint, my opinion, but I feel like these generations, these kids coming up, they just get dumber and dumber. I don't know if it's us, the education wise and failing them and not teaching properly, or if it's the wrong groups. Like, your parents always said, don't hang out with the wrong groups growing up, that kind of thing. But, I don't want us to be a disservice to the generation too, because I know, like, I want to help to shape the future. Obviously, there's younger guys coming up younger than me, and they're going to be the future. So, I want to make sure I'm speaking for myself, doing my part to help edify, and I'm sure there's other better examples than me, but I've been around on this planet, God-given years, as many as I have. I've learned a few things. So, I'm trying to impart that wisdom. And I do the old joke, you probably can relate, back when I was your age, I'm that old now. If I could go back.
Say that because with my son, I do my best not to be that guy, but the more that I look at my surroundings, there's no choice that I have but to be that guy in a lot of ways. Just like for a short tick, the controversy that I had on the last podcast interview about finesse 3 times, and I use that as as an offset to his actual brand.
Mm-hmm.
But like, don't come for Bone Thugs and Harmony, man. Just because we're not all on the screens. See, you have them sitting that just like the WWE, that's a vast universe. Just like just like with being with Zoo Nation, an affiliate of the conglomerated Zoo Nation, becomes a Woo, but it's its own thing. But that's because that's how big Woo. It's made up of 9.5 guys. Kappa down the half, and then the rest of the ones So that's a lot of artists, a lot of affiliates, right? It's its own universe. So when you have someone trying to come in and brown nose their way by default in reverse, they want to throw smut and dirt on someone because they can't get a freestyle cleared. And, we're talking about a monolithic mega opus of a group, of an entity. Nobody is going to sit around and let somebody badmouth somebody. Just like if they're going to talk about J&J Productions from here on out, it's like, okay, we're an honorary, member affiliate in the
Right.
familiar ciphers. So until you guys end up, Father forbid, on anybody's files, until that happens, Father and Mother forbid that it doesn't, then we're
Yeah.
rocking and rolling with J&J. So I think that the loyalty factors and the open-mindedness of what it means to have respect has in its own way gone beyond the waistline and the wayside. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a lack of productivity, again, ingenuity, open mindedness to know that if you want to borrow something from me, be it sugar, flour, pancake mix, you got to come correct, man. Got to
Yeah.
come correct.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. That's true. I mean, and that's that's the whole thing. I mean, that's the other great point. And I said this too. When we look at some of the issues like our country here too, and I've said this. I've been a big advocate about this too. That America, the way the culture in America is unification, to be unified. But anymore nowadays, you find Americans really are just for themselves. There's a lot more. You don't help your neighbor. You kind of keep to yourself. Like I know back in the day, like neighbors were always open. You always talked. You always shared everything. Now you don't know. You don't know if you can trust your neighbor, let alone a stranger that could end up. Good Lord knows what could happen. Which I mean, it's fair,
Let
but
me say this. You're inspiring me to say this. Something I really actually wanted to allude to earlier.
yeah,
In my
please.
backyard, there are certain artists that know who we are. Like we're the ghost dog, or AKA
Yeah.
part of OG Drip God, OG Drip Ghost. OG Drip Ghost is one of the aliases, meaning as like, we've been here, we've been around, it's not something that is so desperate. But like when you look at it, oh dirty bastard, busy bones, certain individuals who they tried to blackball, and these guys were paramount established entities, brands and artists, and they still made a way. They still pushed the culture of hip hop and R&B and so forth and so on. So I find myself being on the receiving end of a lot of weird things in my backyard, like individuals who you think would be honored to work alongside you and stuff. The ones who know who you are from like a now generation versus your peers, they
Mm-hmm.
kind of whimsical and whimsy, and it's just kind of an outer limits experience or encounter of the third, fourth, and sixth kind. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it all boils down to what people know that you bring to the table, what people know that you have already, and then if they're in friendly competition to align themselves, or are they in a competition to try to defame you, take what's yours and not give it back, not share or not participate, collaborate. All
Mm-hmm.
things are a part of being on top of that grandiose mountain,
Yeah.
which 9 times out of 10 will leave you lonely and by yourself. And that's what success is. Sometimes success is sitting there in the corner of your house, your illustrious place or room, and just attempting to figure it out because everyone else has not. And because you are where you are, you have to be that person to do it first.
Yeah.
Because no one else is doing it.
Yeah, that's another great point too. You have
Until
to.
they want to copy you, of course. Now they're
No,
going
no, that's fine. I love
to.
again. It's similar mindset. It gets the point across. But yeah, no, and you think like again, talk about take initiative and talk about being part of like a movement there. If nobody takes that step, movements have to have a starting point, right? You got to have an idea. You got to have a launching pad. You got to have a message, a voice, all that sort of stuff. And so, when you have all that, are you brave enough to put it out there? So sorry, 1 second. Our co-host there he'll be back. His phone's battery's going. But Yeah, so I think that's really important, and again, I like to coin this phrase just because it's where we're at now. And I'm getting older in my in my aging years. There, wisdom of for younger generation of you got to be the voice if you're going to be the voice of the future, which many kids nowadays are. Don't be afraid to do that now. Don't let someone else do it. Don't wait for someone else to step up. If you feel you have something to say, share it. Don't hold back just because maybe someone's not going to agree with you. Again, everybody has their own opinions, as we stated that. So there's going to be some conflict of not everybody's going to agree with you, but if it's what you believe in, be true to what's inside in the heart there, and you speak your mind. Really, which is a really freeing experience for a lot of us. If you haven't tried it, especially you guys watching, or if you haven't tried it, understand that it can open many doorways to a lot of things. So again, that goes back to the whole key point with being the ignorant part. Don't we all are blessed with such unique personalities. We all are intelligent. That's the other thing I hear a lot. You may have heard similar people like, I'm not smart enough to do this, or I don't have a good speaking voice, or I'm not as gifted. Look, we all have gifts. We're all built differently, but we all have unique gifts, right? So you can't tell me you're not gifted with anything. People always age old. Oh, I wasn't born with any gifts. I don't have anything to offer to the table. Well, that's not true. God gives us many talents. We're all built that way. So, don't underachieve and don't lose your full potential just because you're either afraid or people tell you can't do it. Obviously, you think about it, I'm sure you've had some adversity in your music career, where people are pushing, saying, you can't achieve this, whatever level you want to count as success.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you get to the level or been to where I've been, the sad thing, Sam, is that it becomes a very elusive thing as opposed to what you're describing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sad part, is when you begin to get to where we are and have been and are still going, even, you have to be almost very semi-paranoid.
Yeah.
It's not a fun feeling, but it's for your own safety and well-being. And I would say that don't always reveal your plans to everyone.
Sure.
You have to be an island unto yourself. But being an island unto yourself does not mean that you don't have cohorts or associates, affiliates as such, or therefore get allowing you resources. It's just that, like we said earlier, knowing when to hold, fold, and walk away is going to be the best tool that you can apply and utilize.
Yeah, no, exactly. And again, that's where the thought process comes in, because everybody, you don't want to tip your hand too early. Again, it's the same thing. You use the poker analogy. You don't want to tip your hand. You don't want to give away anything right away sometimes. And see, I think that's the other flip side of it too, is there's a difference between being close guarded when you're too conservative as opposed to oversharing, because obviously oversharing is not always the best thing because you give away too much.
Right.
Most people, I think it's generational too. I noticed there's a trend with that. Some people overshare, undershare. There's a different, select group of who
I've
does
done
what.
it. That's why I can speak with you on it now, is because we have to learn from our mistakes or mishaps.
Yep.
And as we grow, we realize that our mistakes and mishaps were more so, experiences, as opposed to, oh, I messed up. It's like the more errors that you have, the sharper that you can be on that road of travel.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I say the same thing. I've learned that people always say, well, you have a lot of, I've made mistakes, I failed at some things, but you know what? I don't take it as negative. I look at it as where it went wrong. What can I do to improve it so I don't repeat those patterns or make mistakes? Case in point example, I'll get personal for a second. Growing up, I was very fortunate because I had, good structure at home with parents that, raised me the right way, my sister and I growing up. And I did get involved with some friends that I wanted to be popular with, but as time went on, they began to, shall we say, lead me down a path of destruction there. I was going the wrong direction. And I'll never forget, and I'm thankful to this day, it's just like 25 years later. Was the words that my mother always said, listen, you can go this route and you can do what you want. I was old enough to know better, as that saying goes. but understand that there's consequences of those actions. And, I had a lot of friends that had made so many wrong decisions that, I came to a crossroads where I wanted those friendships, but I could just tell it was going the wrong way. And so I was barely preteen level. I had to I disassociated. I had to cut off saying, you know what? You're just going down this pathway. I don't want to go down this. It was from the upbringing, knowing it wasn't the right way. And I didn't want to be mean because these guys were friends I hung out with. But, fast forward, looking at the paths that we went on, and a lot of bad choices were made. A lot of unfortunate things happened, got involved in the wrong stuff on the wrong side of the law, how the story goes, etc. And I know, like, my family said, looking back, that could have been me. Like, it could have been an absolute detrimental thing had I not realized that I was getting involved in. And again, I did some things that weren't the best, but I was fortunate to learn ahead of time and not let it get too far down the rabbit hole where it could have been a much higher climb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are life lessons that you have to look at. And again, it's not negative. I know people always want to go to the negative. They want to say, well, I'm down on my luck. And especially today, again, times are tough. The economy, the cost of living, all those things. I get it. We all hear it. We see, and I'm not, we're not that blind where we don't see what's going on in the world. We know this. But at the same time, it goes back to us, as we said, individually, and what we're accomplishing, what we're looking for, what we're learning, and what are we making for ourselves? And and again, I don't want to compare to anybody else. We have to be ourselves. So, when you think about those things, and these are lessons that most of us should have learned at a young age. Maybe a lot of us ignored it at the time because, we're young and dumb at that point. We know everything when we're young, of course. And it's always, as they say, the other famous saying I always love to hear it from, hindsight's always 20/20, right? So you always look back and say, okay. But again, the idea is just really edify yourself with your surroundings, the world around you, where you're at, no matter what walk of life you're at. Just make sure that you at least have a sense of awareness and know what you really have to know yourself. I always seems like, and I don't know if you've run into this, but like you see people like they don't seem like they always say they're searching for something. They haven't found themselves yet, as it were. And I get some people are on the struggle of this journey, but I think it starts with us first. You can't fix somebody else if you don't fix yourself.
Absolutely.
So, you got to kind of look at that way.
That's why, not to cut your wisdom, brother.
No, go ahead.
But that's kind of why the industry has alchemated to the independent fashion of mixtapes in the form of these LPs are now taking upon the form of mixtapes and vice versa. Because one thing I can tell you about being a manager myself of artists and being an executive producer of certain said sounds and stuff, you get tired of people not listening. I understand why nobody wants to be the A&Rs anymore. And if they do, the things about paying your dues, like the power in being who we are as we run our engines, or someone such as myself, for those people that want to be all up under the Woo or Bone or any new group, what you have to realize is the closer you are to individuals without doing anything for yourself, the more codependent you become and the more you won't get the respect that you want from individuals like that.
100%.
So happen to jump off the porch or the ledge and get your flying gear, or hang gliding gear, or parachuting gear together, it's better for the brand. So I think the reason why we've lasted for so long independently, even as we've been affiliated and haven't been like called out by one of the Bone affiliates that are more tethered to how we're affiliated to them, and is because from afar we know that they've seen our work, they admire it. We've not made the brand on any level of independency look bad, and those that are closer nowadays that are getting those direct contracts, that's what they worked for, whereas we just chose the independent affiliate route. We're always going to scream Mo Thug, Seven Sign, Zoo Life. We're always going to be down for G Clef the Mad Composer, Dragos Productions, Busy Bone, La Familia, Q Loco, Black Caesar, Baby Phil.
Yeah.
The same way that you see Denny Mussolini moving
Yep.
in his administrative capacity is
Yep.
the way that a lot of affiliates still move to this day, whether it's Busta Rhymes artists or some of the guys that came from the Rough Riders or affiliates that still hang out with um the Gotti Enterprise of Murder Inc. or the Inc., which is Adventures Music for Chris Gotti's division. Like, so
Right.
this industry has splintered into such a way that as long as you can be consistent and as long as you have a mission statement, you
Yeah.
make an impact in your own vein, in your own way, in your own path. Now, let me
Right.
ask you this. Did you get a chance to listen to the records within your busy scheduling? And how does that work as far as the people being able to get a sneak peek preview or whatever? How did you feel about what our people sent you?
I did get a little snippet. I know it was a busy time. Like I said, it's always life is always
Life and
you try to schedule it. Like I said to people, like I have so many that's and like even for doing stuff here, like I am the production team basically. So I do a lot of the but it's every day. I did get some snippets of it which we're going to use, and actually it was a good question of if we can utilize that. We do like to play things here periodically, which I will incorporate as long as obviously that's cool with you.
oh yeah, absolutely.
But I think even with that, and that's the other interesting point is, and I had this discussion with people, they're always like, and whenever we have a chance to share the message there, like we play, I always tell groups of artists, I have a collection of a bunch of different singles and things from people, and I'm like, listen, send me what you got because we'll share it with the audience there. We want people to hear this, even like if it's a night, you're not here, we play it on a night to help people remember and they associate. Oh yeah, that was that guy with this message. This is his track, etc.
Yeah,
It's
that's
to
great.
spread that word because obviously, and again, as a forum, we're able to do that where we can help and I want to be like a conduit for that message. Again, I didn't write it, I didn't produce it. That's totally what you had there. But if we can be a channel for you to, like I always say too, for our show, it's to reach another scale of audience that maybe hasn't heard it before. And again, we're gonna play it a lot. I have usually certain shows we line up the tracks for, hey, this was from when so and so was on. Like I have some stuff from artists that were on like a year or so ago.
Yeah.
But it's just nice because I feel like we're helping to contribute. Again, it's not my success. It's the message that you're giving and those of you affiliated, but it's to help get that out because we and the same thing, even just talking, we share a similar vibe for that. And I like to have that knowledge of we're able to, in the same like-mindedness, get that word across. Cause again, it's not ours to say exactly, but when we play it, when we run it, and I do from what I've heard too, I really like I know like some of the other guys that are, and I know one of our friends going to join us who I know you're familiar with, going to be jumping in here, have raved about it. I know Deanie has talked highly about it. And again, I've gotten to know Deanie where I model a lot of my professionalism off of what I've learned from him. I kind of count him as a role model and as a what is it called? A mentor, as it were, because obviously he's hands down very gifted at what he does. He has helped me. And actually, just to give you that example, since we're talking about it, I actually asked for his help. And so the artworks, for example, these I'll flash specifically here. These were all done by him, which I had asked him. I said, hey, I need some artwork for the show and I don't have the tools for it. Could you help me? He said, absolutely. And so, again, and the message of Sharon, and obviously, again, even mentioning you coming on, and it was like he's helped plug us for a lot of things. So,
well, I can definitely tell you this will probably go down in the pectorals of J&J production history. But it was just a way for us to get out because we haven't been doing. We were at a point where on FB we did a lot of lives and so forth, but we're going about it in a way that now it just needs to be more accessible.
Yeah.
Just because we have a very private Facebook whereas we made those who are a part of it, you may see it might be, I don't know, it's like 6,000 or 7,000, I don't know, but that's a very handcrafted, selected few.
Right.
We have the Oneness Labels Skin and Bones Facebook fan page, which anyone can sign into that, but it's just sectors and vectors for things. So that's why we wanted to get your take on what little bit you got to hear. Did you hear the diversity, or
Yeah.
what your input was on what little that you heard, and did you have any comparisons?
Yeah, no, I found a lot of things to that, and see, again, I'm a big fan of, I always try to find the message there, which is the first thing I always target. And so, and again, I'll spin it this way. I just, in a general, I've learned to open my mind a bit more, because in my younger years too, I have certain genres of music that I kind of just wrote off. I'm like, I just can't get into, I don't, but I've learned over time is to try to understand the message is there. I have to be more, again, ignorance too. I was younger at the time. I wasn't thinking. As I've gotten older, and the reason I say it for you is, rap and hip hop was not my go-to, as it were. Again, I have nothing against it. It just, wasn't, I'm old school classic rock and roll, the classics there. That was just what we grew up on,
Yeah.
Like, I had a lot of friends that used to play for me. Oh, listen to like the raps and stuff. And again, some of it's, I could listen to, but I'm like, I just couldn't really find the vibe there.
Yeah.
So, when I heard, when I listened for what, you had there sharing, I'm like, this is the stuff that really I should have paid more attention to, in a manner of speaking. Because again, I was focusing on the message, not so much the flashy, obviously the music is great and everything's crafted well, but it's like, it's trying, I go back to the old adage of music is there to tell the story. There's a message there. Yeah. So that was really, and I saw the alignment when I listened. I'm like, I can get on board, and I can see the similarity where I kind of feel like I do a similar thing. Obviously, it's not music. We have a speaking platform.
Yeah.
But when we see how, again, we're not that much different, and
diversity of things.
Yep, and it opened my mind. It's like, wow, we're almost like we're basically trying to accomplish the same. And that's the other thing I always tell people. We're all trying to accomplish the same goal. We're just coming at it from different viewpoints. Doesn't mean we're totally different.
Right.
So that's really what I took from that. It's like,
out, on the hip hop, and then bandwagon, but because of my vast array background in rock, it was a no-brainer of where we ended up with the indie pop stuff. I mean,
sure.
Now music has splintered into so many things, even though it's always been there. The platforms of the metal wave has, widespread made it more available. Because I came up in the time of the Chemical Brothers, Oasis, Prodigy, Blur, just as much as I was listening to Midwest mobster rap, Twista, the Crucial Conflicts, the Do or Dies, but especially namely Mo Thug Records and Busy Bone, Bone Thugs in that sense, Wu-Tang. But what makes what we do now so crazy is that whereas before I was focused on, like you said, getting a specific message out, I now realize I don't have to beat a dead horse.
Right.
It's not dead.
Exactly.
Because the horse is still alive. So why not cater to different types of horses for, as you say, the message sake? So I didn't know if what we had sent you, if you were able to see the diversity, even though it has a certain vibe. It would be like some people want to listen to death metal. I'm not a death metal person, but I am a doom metal person.
Okay.
That derives from Black Sabbath and blues rock. So that means one of my favorite bands would be like The Sword, Baroness. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Where I'm having this conversation with you, some of my homies are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Gangsta? What the fuck is some doom?
Exactly, right? Yeah.
What is the sword? What are you talking about? Lord of the Rings? You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
it's
Yep.
the same way with you. You're like, what?
Yep.
Rough Riders? That sounds like some cowboy shit.
It does, yeah.
Right. But then you find out they're riding around on motorcycles. So I totally get it. And that's why my existence in the metaverse or multiverse of musicology is so important. And that's why I can't any longer be silent.
Right.
Allow people like Aries Spears
Mm-hmm.
to undermine the evolution of all music, because whereas you weren't listening to rap before, Dr. Dre went a step further and gave you Eminem.
Yep.
Now it's like, okay, I guess. And it's nothing wrong with that. Like, we're like, oh, we're only listening to him because he's Caucasian. So as soon as rock comes out and it's got a black face or a brown face on it, you want to listen to it. This is my only tip with that.
Yeah.
Is that it's sad that the so-called African American community forgot about B.B. King, forgot about Jimi Hendrix, forgot about Chuck Berry. That's
the pioneers.
What's so weird about it is that y'all are going to try and be so hard and gangster that you forgot that one of the biggest gangsters was James Brown and Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, yeah.
That's gangster, man. That's punk rock. What they were doing, that gave birth to Jerry Lee Lewis and Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you can't overstand Muddy Waters and Little Walter and the Rolling Stones and the Yardbirds and the Beatles, even it's just a lost cause at that point, Sam, to try to get people even within our sphere to understand it. And the next thing you find out that they'll do is they'll copycat your ass.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And because people might pay more attention to them, now it looks like they did it when they fucking did not.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Just want to give a shout out, Official Thin Ice Music. Thank you for checking out, and thank you, Poe, mentioning it is live. We are live right now. But yeah, pioneer work, you know, and that's the thing. I'll throw one better, because I said this too. Like, I've opened my genre up to music a lot more. And when you talk about origins, and this is one conversation I have with people where they laugh, but every form of music, you know, from rock and roll, hip hop to rap to R&B, where does it all come from? Well, it starts with classical. Everything goes back to the classics, right? The Bachs, the Beethovens, which I love doing that during school time. I love to learn the history of those, because Mozart, because people are like, well, it's so boring. But that's where the fundamentals start. That's where everything starts from somewhere. It has to have an origin story, right? So
even
opera, exactly. These are the building blocks. And like, I used to have a lot of these kids. Oh, I'm a huge gangster rap. I love all this. Where did rap come from? Where did hip hop? Where did R&B start from? What do you mean? It didn't just start there. There was an origin. It had a founding, and someone else inspired someone else who inspired someone else. When
you look at the so-called chopper rap style or the flip-flop flow style.
Yep.
What most people do not know, this is why mumble rap cannot be insulted any longer, Aries Spears, is because jazz, bebop, staccato flow.
Yep.
Yeah. What is that? Nobody knew what did that be? You see what I'm saying? Don't that kind of make you think of Bone Thugs and Harmony?
Yep.
Right, because they're moving their mouth at a certain pace and they're taking it in a Pagio fashion. So this is why when I think about people like Aries Spears, who wants to tell people we're East Coast this and that, and I had a conversation on this previous podcast, where I was like, it was said by industry heads out of the East Coast themselves that drill saved them. Now that's interesting if you think about it, because, if drill, one of the most atrocious and I won't say atrocious, but one of the most aggressive rap music today, that can take on an atrocity in a way when you're thinking about it like it's the purge of rap music, right?
Yeah.
So if you've seen the movies The Purge and you hear drill music, and then you hear industry onlookers say that that are from the East Coast say that it saved the East Coast. That's scary, but it's still creative in the sense that you can see how music has been turned on its head, because back in the day, it was all West Coast. And then you had some East Coast stuff going on.
Right.
And then it was like the East Coast took on this West Coast form. And now the East Coast is still borrowing from the Midwest. Because the Midwest had flip-flop and had all this jazzy sounding stuff, Ohio Players, Roger Troutman, the Gap Band, all this stuff going on. Prince is from Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson and the Jacksons are from Indiana. Gary.
Yep.
Like, you think about the Midwest, you got to think about Shannon Hoon, which is Blind Melon. You got to think about Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose from Lafayette, Indiana. So when this dude is talking, or individuals like him talk about what is the culture of music and how East Coast did this and that. Yeah, East Coast had jazz. They had jazz predominantly, and the blues was a Southern thing. But what about the funk? The funk predominantly came from the Midwest, and so did the luscious R&B Babyface Edmondson. So again, that's what I'm saying, is that facts are important before opinions anymore. There was a time where opinions were philosophical. It was like being in aristocracy with Socrates or Plato. Guess what? We can't effing do that too much anymore.
No.
Because you're going to get fact-checked by someone like me or you. And Aries Spears, I had to keep going back to this nutcase, because it's like he has this memorandum that he's shooting off at the mouth about. And it's like, but it's not really factual, though. Yeah. You run into someone who actually runs around with these people or have been affiliated or have kicked it with them. If you think about one of Busy Bones' premier artists and founders of the group, of his group, Seven Sign, he's from the Boogie Down Bronx of New York. Okay, but he's signed to someone who has Midwest origins. Yeah. He does his rap. He does it over a West Coast style beat. Right. It's a song called Mr. Majesty 2. But you wouldn't know that if you didn't do the investigation. So you would assume he might just be a West Coast rapper. Right. But he's not. You might think he was a Midwest rapper, but he's not. And he wasn't. He was an East Coast guy that was so talented that he took a stab at a West Coast beat and made it work. That is ambition. That is talent. Yeah. What I'm saying? Absolutely. So I say all that to say that when it comes down to the come down about who we have to be now in the metasphere, it really is not just who you know, but what you know and how you apply it.
100%. Yeah, because and it's the same thing. I know that was sort of the infrastructure, the metaphorical, well, not metaphorical, the legitimate building block of, you want to make it in the industry. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And maybe that was somewhat true way back when, but nowadays, talent really does obviously play a factor, because
you think,
everybody's trying. And we see this like in music. We see this. We joke about this like on shows, like I've listened to a lot of other podcasts and stuff, and it's not to name names or bash anybody, but it's like you can see people who are trying to make it work, and that's great. Again, I don't knock anybody for trying, but if the talent really is not there, and it will show, it should show evidently whether you have something or not. And again, not everybody's built for the same thing. Everybody's got unique talents. We all do, but they're not all for the same exact specifics. So, and I said this, and again, we'll go back to credit for Mr. Reynolds, because he gave me a great compliment. I even said when I appeared on his show the first time, we kind of started our podcast there, and I was looking to promote, and I found him, and he invited me on his show, and I think it was during the live airway. I said, I I had never done podcasting. I've done music and stuff before. This is kind of a different feel. And I'm like, I always was critical of myself. Like, do I have the voice for that radio voice? They say that some people have it. Some people have the flow. And so I remember, and this is something that was always, sentimental for me when, Deanie, I think it was during the show, after the show, he said, man, he goes, I said, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I'm built. He goes, man, the first thing I heard when I heard you talk was you got the voice for this. And I said, really? I said, I wasn't thinking that. I really wasn't giving myself any credit there. I'm thinking, I don't know if this is me. Like, I don't know. I'm trying something out of the dark. I'm trying something new, and I want to see if, I'm talented. So, but to hear that, and again, I defer to him with having done this and as a mentor and someone I look up to for that too, saying, when you're giving me that positive feedback, and he's like, do it, bro. He's like, you got this. You got the voice there. We've done the shows. We started launching it. He's like, I like, hearing you guys are really expanding. It was that reaffirmation that this is great, because again, I knew nothing coming in. I researched. I tried something different. And then, like I said, I'm one of those, I don't like to listen to myself because I'm not always, I always thrilled with the sound of my own voice, as some people are. But to hear someone else say, yeah, I've listened to, and I've had several people say, I listened to the show, and, man, hearing your voice and hearing, like, when I do, like, the ad promos, it goes, you sound really good. I'm like, oh, I just kind of do them off the fly. I'll type something up and I'll say it. And I never think about, I try to be as professional sounding as possible, but it's just nice to have that feedback of, yeah, I have people like, yeah, I listened to you and that was really good. And I'm like, oh, well, I appreciate that, because it encourages and inspires me. Like, I'm doing something that it's not just a waste of time, and it's not dribble where, nobody's listening. I always say, I don't care if it's just one person. If someone gets something out of the craziness that we do, and some of the shows we do get kind of in crazy and goofy and, that kind of stuff. If it helps somebody, even we joked recently, because a lot of us have been doing late nights where we fall asleep during shows on the air. So I'm like, listen, if it inspires someone else and it gives you into a good mood, I don't care if my voice puts you to sleep, if it's going to help you. So, it's those positive things where you want that. And I try to take that same vein, like I got from him. Like, I'll share others. I've been trying to help others. Like, listen, keep doing. I have people ask me, hey, how did my show sound? I get asked advice of, give me feedback. Listen to these tracks. Listen to this. These are episodes. You're doing good. I don't want to. I'm not going to overstep you. I want you to find your own groove to it. But I think it sounds good. As long as you're being truthful to yourself. That's usually a common question people ask. Like, what do I do for a show? Just be yourself. Have that message. Same thing. Music there. Know what you want to say, and don't be afraid. You're going to have to get feedback one way or the other. So don't be afraid. There's always positive and negative criticism, especially on the internet. We see it all the time. There's all these comments that are not going to be so sweet, like your grandmother giving you a sheet of cookies. It's going to be different things. But when you have that, it's really great, really impressive. So, hey, look who's joining us. We have a special guest tonight here. Well,
what's up, guys?
Yeah.
Late to the party, but
and before my guy sets it up, I wanted to say this. This is another, like, I have to put my brother on blast a little bit, and this is, like, to his credit. He's also
go for
it. Deanie, but imagine him being Caribbean and being in the South.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? So it's like, just because of his linear vernacular and being so sharp and so witty and so industrial, no one would ever think that he was Caribbean.
No.
You see what I'm saying? He doesn't even have. He used to have more of the Southern swang, but he doesn't even have that much.
Really? Wow.
But we all evolve, like, and this is why it's hard in a lot of instances for people to grasp that in this business of entertainment, sometimes that's exactly what the F it is, man.
Yep.
Not that it's a lie. It's just a portion. So that's why I say, on a lot of levels, when I'm reaching out to people who book shows or something, like this individual, he tried to tell me, you gotta get on Instagram, and I'm like, no, actually I don't. I'm like, if you can find someone who's Googleable and you can research them, you should be able to decide whether you want to give them a show or not, or whether you want to do it. because everybody has their mode and method of
Yep.
madness or not. That's the beauty of the social
Right.
media presence. But the bad part is that when you pigeonhole someone into trying to communicate with you outside of just a normal number and
Mm-hmm.
email, like if that's not the premise of your profession, then you've missed what the whole archy of professionalism is. Because when you
Totally.
go for a job, when you go to communicate with someone, if you don't want to give them your main phone number, get a Google number, get a text number. This is business
Yeah.
Yep.
101, man.
Yep.
That's what's so sad sometimes about the urban community that
Yeah.
keeps him down. The
Right.
finesse 3 times. He's on here drugged out. The little kid left him. He's looking weird. He's crying about a $40,000 bone clearance, but you got all this money around your neck supposedly, and you
Right.
got enough money to buy your DRUGSs. So I mean, you should be able to afford 40K without
You would
crying.
think. Yeah. You
I'm
would think.
saying that to say again, what is our primary focus when we step into a business model such as this?
Yep. Exactly. That's that. Yeah, you got it. That's a fair point there. So now that he's joined late to the party, okay, Poe, your turn for questions. Go ahead.
Oh, questions? Oh, I just want to say what's up to Skin and Bones.
No, I'm kidding.
I do remember when we had you on Vigilantes Radio. I don't know if you remember. This was years ago with Houdini Black, and it was a great show. I just remember we had a great conversation, and that your music was good. And I was telling Sam Crow, I want to say what's up because I remember this guy. As soon as I said Skin and Bones, I'm like, I know exactly who you're talking about. So
Long way, man, and you look super grown these days, my brother.
oh yeah, I used to look like a kid back then. Remember? Yeah, I looked really young.
AKA you're old now, but that's
I won't say that. I'll just say that you have matured
I will.
very well. And also, yeah, it was actually Skeptics. I had been on a couple episodes of Skeptics, and at one point I think before Vigilante got to where it was, I actually broke the net with one of the interviews that I was on with Deanie. But
Yeah,
that was one of my favorite ones with you, man. You had a lot of great points, man. We gotta do something like that again.
yeah, that was fun. It was a deep conversation. That's all I remember. We got so deep into the universe and like the energy and the other dimensions, and I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, relationships and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great episode. I was telling Sam Crow, I remember Skin and Bones. Distinctly remember him. It's been years though since those shows. I don't know.
I think it was 2017.
Yeah, 2017. Yes.
2018. Yeah.
Well, I think then I'll throw this out there. This is a huge invite for Skin if he'd like. We do have myself and Poe and Big Hoss. We do have another show we could get you on. I think I mentioned that the Three Amigos show we have, that's our party show. So if you want to just do like a night where we do all kinds of fun stuff, we talk all kinds of funny things. It's just basically like one big party. So you're always welcome if you'd like to join us there. That's more of an informal, we have a Friday night bash kind of thing. So
oh yeah, that would be great. Get some popcorn, man.
Yep.
And
Bring your snacks. We all usually, most of us, Poe usually is the one who drinks more than the rest of us, but we do have.
Yeah, that's the one thing that hasn't changed. I don't get as drunk as we did on Vigilantes Radio, where I would pass out. What? I passed out last night.
Yeah,
man.
He did. He passed
we
out.
could get behind the scenes, man, and we could actually really create some stuff because that's what you see right now with Lazy Bone and that guy who has Holding Court, who's originally from the No.
Oh yeah, the somebody got to say it with Lazy Bone.
You guys got one of the affiliates, so maybe we can kind of expand that and add dimensions to it. Because I would love to do more of a entertainment, dialogue-based movies, comics, just everything, man. Everything entertainment. I would love to offer.
We do all that, yeah. Yep, we do a lot of that. We have a plethora of genres, if no pun intended, but we do that across where we do all kinds of fun stuff. So we like to keep it real and we keep it fun and not, like I said, sometimes topics can, if it's warranted, we go into some deeper discussions, but usually it's very laid back, very low key, very party user friendly. So that's right up in our wheelhouse. I think that would be right up your alley too.
Oh yeah, just because there's not very many Just for one, I don't allow myself. That's what I was saying to you earlier,
Mhm.
brother. I think Belagos can attest to this. I am kind of like the ghost dog of the of the lane, of where I'm
Yep.
coming from. I'm a very once the door opens, I can be very outspoken, but I
Mhm.
am very methodical, very skewed, way that I move. And even Deanie could tell you when it came down to the good old days of me being in magazines,
Mhm.
sometimes when he wanted to put me in a magazine or something, I would a lot of times my face would be covered or something because I'm in essence an avatar. You see what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And I've always, even when it came to dating, sometimes I would have alias names because I'm like, you need to know me as an essence.
Right.
Getting all that extra information if it's not warranted for an interview, if you're trying to just, I think sometimes we're going after the wrong things to figure out stuff.
Right. Oh yeah.
Saying like we
Yep.
need to get to the pun intended, we need to get to the skin and bones of it all.
Yep.
We need to really dig like deep, not in like investigating the people like the cops or the alphabet boys, but we need to investigate it like, does this person seem like they're really a serial killer, or is it people saying they're a serial killer?
See, fair point. Yeah, that's again, it's a misconception, interpretation. So you got to
Right.
know.
When the Bad Brains came out, and if you watch the Bad Brains live performance on like a YouTube video, you'll see they're very animated, very wild, and but they're saying something. They're bringing something to the table. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's not like anything you've seen in punk. But then you can't compare the Bad Brains and what they do in punk to the Sex Pistols. It's
Right.
not really the same, but it's the punk energy, right?
Yep.
So the question is, do you spend your last $10 or $15 if you were to go back in time and see him live? Who would you go see? Would you go see the Bad Brains for the PMA, the positive mental attitude, or would you go see the Sex Pistol for the drug fueled heroin mosh pitting till we're bleeding all over each other? And considering that was the era in which the virus was first appearing, and I'm not talking about Corona, but you know what
Mhm.
I'm talking about, that it popped
Yeah.
out. Which one is the most safest adventure to take upon yourself? So these
Yeah.
are things, man, that us as individuals, we live and we die daily. We
Yep.
experience it every day. Do I want to drink hams, or do I want to go ahead and drink Modelo? Like, what am I feeling today? Sometimes I'm
Yeah.
a rocker. Sometimes I want to drink the punk rock hams, the old school 1970s funk rock hams. But sometimes, man, I just want to be the Caribbean that I am and drink the Modelo. Then sometimes it's just like, man, let's just turn up and drink the derivative of Coors Light, which is Keystone,
Yep.
because it's crispy like Coors Light, but I still don't have to spend that much money to get the buzz that I want, man.
There
So
you go.
all these options,
Yeah.
less is more. Sometimes too much is just that, too much.
Yep. Very true. See, that's more, and that's more. I will say, I joke. This is more Poe's wheelhouse for the beer. I mean, I like a good drink too, but I'm not as much of an alcohol aficionado as he is. So
I did say that for Poe because I knew he would catch on a little bit. But I mean that thing, being in the nightlife, being a bodyguard and a security guard in the nightlife, man, and a liaison enforcer, that part
yeah.
of the industry was when I first got in, it was very wild, man, because like you said, prior pandemic, prior to that, the nightlife was really a whole nother experience. And even all around the country and the world, clubs
Right.
are going out of effing business, and as they should, because if you get to a point to where you're going to water down those drinks and yank up the price to make a profit, know
Mm-hmm.
that the economy is not changed just because it's crashed, but it's changed overall because of things. You don't deserve to be in business because your number one aficionado, your number one call to arms should be the connoisseurs, the customers, the patrons. And if
Yes.
you're not serving that purpose, what the F are you here for? We can have a party at home like we're doing right now.
Yep.
Well, that's what I do now. It's just cheaper to drink at home. I could mix my own drinks, get whatever beer. Like if I go out to the bar, back in the day it was $8 a beer. It's got to be like $10 or $15 now. I haven't been to a bar in years, but back in the day, I thought it was ridiculous, $8 for a Bud Light. And so like now, I'm like, man, I could get a 6-pack for that price. You know, if I find it on sale.
Well,
So
funny,
get a 12-pack even. Yeah.
What's funny is I'm a hops type of guy. I'm an IPA type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll turn around and get some Daredevil or Liftoff, Ripcord, and that stuff's like 8.0.
Yeah.
Or I'll get some Voodoo Ranger.
Yeah.
Off my effing ass, man.
Voodoo Ranger gives you a really nice buzz. You feel like you're flying. There's got to be some kind of magic in there. I gotta tell my friend, I feel like I drank like a magical potion. Like I see why it's called Voodoo Ranger.
Yeah, right. And so all in all, and that to say that where we are now with things like this, for me to be able to come out and do this is rare form, because you got to think I seen it all unfolding, I seen it all coming, and this is again a bridging the gap or the gate to what the so-called celebrities call themselves doing. Me being like, there was times where I wondered, where is my place in all of this truly? Like, to go to Hollywood, to go to Beverly Hills, prior pandemic, and be with superstars who have changed the face of the industry, or to meet their children or their kids, and to be really like when you're sitting next to the daughter of the woman who did all the covers for Tom Cruise, man, it changes your perspective on life.
Yeah.
Wow. Like when you see the picture on the wall in a frame with all these movie covers, and you step up to her and you say, "Oh, these are your favorite movies," and she gets pissed at you and says, "No, my mother did those." And you're like, "Oh, that's funny." What? She's like, "Oh, I'm serious." You know what I mean? Like, "Oh, damn, no, this is for real." And I mean, and so once it's like realizing that McDonald's is not the hottest place in town anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, I can go to Burger King and have it my way. I can go to Steak and Shake, and get a triple, and it's going to be juicy every time.
Yep.
Versus a dry ass burger. I don't have to do it anymore. So when we have these encounters and these adventures in our lives, not limited to what I've said, but whatever you guys can compare it to, that is in fact the mirror reflection of what they've got to deal with in these higher echelons. And that's the way the universe wants it. Yep. Because you can't, this is what you and I, Crow, were talking about before the brother Poe came on. There was a time where they could do that.
Yep.
It's all coming out now. We know the facts of life wasn't real. We thought it was. Change was real. But we didn't know the kids were snorting coke before they got on the set. We just nobody could tell us that. You know what I mean? Nobody was going to tell us that these 13, 14, 15-year-old kids was getting high as kites. Like, we did what we did, but God damn, these. And this is after Studio 54. So, wow. Talking like nothing could have prepared us for today.
True.
Because of what we were given. So they got to deal with it, man. And it's not an aggressive thing. I'm saying for people to, like you guys, to be in the position that you're in, the shaman, the Merlin of a said genre and setting has come to shed light, to empower, you guys, not to tear you down. And it's time for the rest of the world to see that their nooks and crannies and stereotypical BS, man, that's over with, bro. Nobody wants to hear your stereotypical bullshit, man. Nobody wants to hear about segregation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if your great grandpa was the lieutenant to the general of the Confederate Army. I don't care. I like the
Mhm.
Confederate flag because I know it was shared with the Iroquois as part of the Iroquois history. So I
Yeah.
don't care. Somebody else might get offended because they know not, but you're not going to lump me into that, grits and cream of wheat with no agave on it, man. I'm not going for it. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
So we got to get to a point to where we can feel that way and still let people be the way that they are.
well, that's an interesting point. Like, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was thinking this too because I'm a big proponent. Again, this is historical, but like, uh, it's the freedom to fly the Confederate flag. We'll use that as the example there. Okay. Now, I know people don't want to associate that because they say, "Oh, well, represents the South and the persecution against for black and all that stuff." But that's not what it originally was intended for. Like people forget, like there's a bigger meaning to that. And also, you think about it. At the end of the day, I'm not saying it was a great time. It was a bad time in our history for that, but at the end of the day, like now we see these. Was it just? I think it was at Mississippi this last week. They struck it down. Well, I guess the part of the problem was the flag was bigger. They were told to, but they don't. You can't fly it anymore. It's too offensive to some. Listen, it's an American flag. It's based on our culture. If you're gonna burn one, you got to burn the other one. I mean,
Let me tell you a secret that nobody wants to really talk about. Guess what? If you're not affiliated with the military and you're not engaged in true nationalism, you're not even supposed to have the stars and bars. You're supposed to have the civil flag hanging from your house. How about those
wow.
Wow. I never knew about the civil flag. Wow.
How about
That's-
that? So take the military flag down if you're not a patriot. If you're just a pure civilian, you're supposed to fly the civil flag first.
Interesting.
So again, let's go even deeper. How about every state has its own state citizen flag to start with?
Yep.
So
Right.
how come we don't
It's true.
see more people waving their own personal state? Again, see when people, and this is the crazy part about it. It goes back to the whole punk thing, just the way there is with rap and all of this and all of that. And I use Bone as a primary example. When Bone came into the game, they weren't loved the way that they are today. Like they've been bitten off so many times, they should have a bunch of mosquito bites.
Right.
Sure they do. When I was accepted into this whole thing, this Thug and Harmony mythos, I went a step further and did stuff they weren't even doing. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to keep it going. So to draw it back into the stream of waters that we started in, when it comes down to the Confederacy, if you think about it, this is and these are my personal feelings based off facts. This is not an opinion. My thing was this: it was so corporate. It was a corporate engineered war, even when you look at it from a Vietnam perspective. That wasn't a successful thing on one end, how it happened. You know what I'm saying? Why our people didn't want to fight it in the first place. So when you look at the Civil War, it's like, why didn't you just let them do their effing thing, man, and say, hey, just don't call them the N-word and don't treat them like dogs. You see what I'm saying? Had they just came to the table and said, so you want your own money? No problem. You want to do your own thing? No problem. Just like there's a North Korea and a South Korea, just like there was a Berlin, North Berlin and a South Berlin, East Berlin, West Berlin.
East and West, yeah, yep.
Then it should have been the same for us, because guess what? It technically still is.
Yeah, if you think about it, that's true. Yeah.
What did they change?
Yeah.
They didn't. Listen, think about wrestling. Give you a perfect example. Think about wrestling. Mid South, Mid Atlantic Wrestling, WWF, NWA, then the WCW, USWA, whatever, all those territories, man. That is because of what we experienced via the Civil War. That's why those wrestling territories were like that. And it's because of someone who came from the East, like McMahon, bless his heart, where he was thinking corporation, but he still had the Confederate mindset. Meanwhile, he was so corporate that our good old Southern boys didn't like it. But what's crazy about that is they still had the more heart-earned product. And how do we prove that? Ted Turner and WCW almost beating them out of the Monday Night Wars.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if you look at that from a Civil War perspective, it would have been better if you'd have just let them do their own effing thing, man. You see what I'm
Interesting. Yeah.
because what did it accomplish? Let me ask you this: what did it stop racism?
No. Nope.
I mean, because it was supposed to, it should have ended it, right? Like,
Yeah, that was the goal.
If we're being, because you have to consider, I'm an indigenous, bro. I can talk about this shit.
Yeah.
Look, my grandfather's people up, the Coleridge tribe,
Mm-hmm.
in the Owls in the mountains of Coleridge, Kentucky, where
Yep.
they had their own cemetery, their own schools. So
Yep.
I can speak on this. I come from I have a Southern, I have a Caribbean or indigenous birthright, as well as a foreign international birthright. So when you talk about being studied in it, I'm what everyone except those who know fear. Same way
Yep.
this is mixed with Italian and Caucasian and African American. Yeah, him, closest person to Busy who could talk would probably be Lazy. Lazy's open minded, but I go as far as to venture. Sometimes it's hard for Wish and Crazy to relate to them because their mind is so open to certain things. It's scary, you know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's so pigeonholed. Like you
Yeah.
said, you opened your mind more on genres. And I'm
Yep.
saying all that again to say, "Oh Dirty Bastard" versus RZA, they're both very experimental and different, but you cannot say they are the same. But it's still Wu-Tang.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been easy to have the true South America should have been the South. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Versus Espaniola, which are my cousins, the Brazilians. If you think about it, it's like, but why did you guys do that? That you skipped right over the South to give the title of South America to indigenous people when America was practically indigenous anyway.
Yep.
It's just
Yeah.
it's all propaganda and politics that, of course, we don't have a lot of stock in now because
Yeah.
it's 2006. But I'm saying, looking back at it, that whole conversation is pointless and it's a bunch of shenanigans, Brother Poe and Crow, because my perspective based off of education, not off my opinion. This is an
Right.
educated hypothesis, right? What was so wrong with just setting certain prerequisites like our country does for any other country they shouldn't even have their nose in? They tell them how to shit, eat, when they can eat turkey, when they can't, right? So
Yep.
they should have just said, "Hey guys, we don't have to fight and kill all these men and sacrifice them for nothing. We just want a percentage of this, a percentage of that. You guys do your thing, we'll do our thing."
Yep.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and say this much: our company is working on something like that right now. I can't
Ooh.
talk too much about it, but this has been an on-running discussion
Ah.
behind the curtains in the scenes with our people and our company and stuff. So it's been ongoing for a long time. That's why I'm so passionate. And I've had this conversation with well-to-do people for a long time. My personal standard on it is America, even today, and I've said this first time you guys are hearing it from me, coming out on this level right here on the J Production Show. I've ever aired this out, but I say to this day, I feel like we should still do it. I feel like this would be the best time. Just
Yeah.
let the South do what the fuck they want to do and say, "Hey, but if we catch you doing that weird shit, we're gonna fine you and you're gonna do life in federal prison." You know, if we catch you doing that weird stuff with hoods and stuff for no reason, like you want to make it your personal police force and you have borders and you say, "Hey,
Right.
I want you over here," or it's private property like the way White Castles is private, so you can't buy stock in it unless they say so, versus
Sure.
the property that McDonald's sits on. Like that. You see how it works in food? You see how it works? How they will let you franchise it out. But White
Yep.
Castle don't let nobody franchise because they're not on the stock market.
See,
Wow.
we're learning. I'm learning a lot here. This is like
I know, right?
we're spilling the tea right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like if we did that as Americans today, bros, oh, we'd be so beautiful. Like
Wouldn't it though? Yeah.
I guarantee you the rest of the world would have more respect for us.
Yes.
Exactly.
They'll say, "Okay, so you guys are not just fucking us. you'll deal with each other too. So it's not personal. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, all that ends up happening is inside fighting. They
Yep.
don't
Yeah.
know whether they want to protect the indigenous side of America, whether they want to scoff at it. Then they end up dipping in the pot, and some of the kids come out mixed. You know what I'm saying? So we all got a story to tell about that. So we can't afford to be that way. Then can we? We have the
Yep.
right to drink what we want, eat what we want, like what we want. But can we really be biased on culture at this point in time anymore in America? That's just kind of weird.
Yeah. It's funny, it's funny when you think about it too, like how simple, simplistic in a manner of speaking, could things be resolved and fixed if you just kind of take it in that direction where all these little things, these ins and outs to fix things that our culture just makes things so much more complicated. I think that's why we're in such a chaos driven world now, because everything just gets pushed more and more beyond the scope, beyond the rationality of things. It just goes, once you put things in the eye of the storm, it just kind of spirals out of control. So,
Yeah.
but when
Well-
you break it down like that, it just really makes it. There's so many ways we could fix things that life would be so much better if we just thought that way.
Like churches, I'll give you another one. I'm having fun. I'm sorry, I'm not trying.
No, go for it. No, I like it. Go for it.
Watch this. I'll give you just to confirm what you said, and Poe, I'll let you take it away.
Okay.
What you're saying, like you said, fix it. Church's Chicken fixed it. How did they fix it? Texas
Right.
Church's Chicken. They completely, they were like, well, we're not going to change because then we won't get the indigenous people to like our chicken. And they're right. They won't, because everybody will go to Popeyes and never come back. Because if you change the brand to the point of disassociative or non-cognitive identity or identification, you're a new thing. Like if he has the brand Sinister Poe, I've never known him as that. But because I know of him, I'm supportive, right?
Yep.
But if somebody knew him as Ghosty and then they said, hey, who is that guy? I don't know. So, I think he's with him. I'm just keeping it 100. Like, he's got the beard and stuff. And if you went to his old picture, he used to do something like that, and he looked real. So if you try to compare him, like, was that his big brother or something? People are trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to figure it out. And then in this society, in this time in America, that's like, never mind. We'll see him on TikTok, or we'll figure it out later. Just Church's Chicken said, we gotta change it, but we're not going to change the whole thing. We're just going to put Texas on that motherfucker. It worked. You'll still go to Church's because you know it's Church's Chicken. It's just Texas Church's Chicken now. And there's nothing wrong with the Lone Star State. Well, we know they got good food. There's Sub.
Oh, great food in Texas, yeah.
Yeah, that's on you, Poe. I'm done for a while.
Okay, so I'm gonna say a couple things. Yeah, I really agree with you, like about how America should just talk and do some deals with countries instead of like getting violent. I think people should talk to each other and cut deals instead of resorting to violence. And then like what you guys were saying about why we can't fix things. I like the way you think because you're very analytical. You talk about solutions. You see it from every angle. And when I see a lot of podcasters, especially the big ones, it's just a bunch of arguing. Oh, you're right. I'm wrong. No, this is how it is. It's like that. But they don't really come to any conclusion. It's just like a bunch of fighting. And then the show ends, but nothing got resolved. It's just, it's what I see a lot of. And I like the way you just analyze everything and you see it and you say like, hey, we could do this. Or this is a positive action you could take. And not just talk. And like I love the way you think. You got a really intellectual mind. You're a deep thinker, and that's what I was telling Sam Crow. That you're like a really deep deep thinker. Yeah,
well, brother Paul. The only reason I'm going to keep it 100. I'm the equivalent of an American Indian diplomacy or I'm the real deal. I mean, even from if you just looked at me in a picture from the head, you'd be like, oh, okay, this is not like manufactured.
Right.
Look at it and tell, just like I can look at you guys and say, okay, these guys are who they are, blah, blah, blah. And people don't understand that when it comes to job interviews and stuff. Like, these people are trained.
Oh, yeah.
To be the fucking DEA and the CIA and all this kind of stuff. Like, but even though they're not, they're scanning you like that. And that's why I don't get when people like put certain stuff on the internet or all this, and I'm like, they're gonna come and get your ass. Did you know that? You know,
Oh, yeah, when
Yeah.
people put-
get you, man. Like even when it comes to some of my thugsters out there, like I'm like, they're gonna come and get you. Are you aware of that? Like, and this all this fighting the power stuff, and I'm like, but they're
or
gonna
at the least they're going to be on some kind of list. That's for sure.
listen. No, I'm saying, but they're gonna
Yeah,
they're just gonna tap your phone. You're always using Messenger. They're about to tap your Messenger. You know what I'm saying? Like when they used to use a chirp from Boost Mobile. It's an open line. They're gonna come get you, man. They're coming
yeah.
right now in the white vans up the street. Like, so it's just like some of this stuff, man. I'm with you, Poe. It's like I don't know if it's per se solutions that I'm attempting to offer. I'm just saying that the things that we are discussing are more meets the eye than we want to. A lot of them want to admit. Or if it is WWE, that's fine because I was an ECW guy. But the
Yeah.
reason why I was, which revolutionized WWE, if we all know our history. So the reason why I was when I was raising my son as a child, who's now a teenager going into his next level to be a young adult, I introduced him to ECW as opposed to WCW or anything else, which he got into later, because I wanted him to have a sense of life is war.
Right.
And
Yeah.
ECW was the introduction of taking bumps again in wrestling entertainment, which was still wrestling sports at the time. Yes, there was a script of some sort, but you're about to get hurt, man. You know
You
what I'm
still
saying? Like,
that impact. Yeah, that's
that's
horrible.
a real chair, man. It's gonna hurt, man.
You
That's
got
why you didn't see Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan coming up. They're about to get hit, man.
yeah, if you get a suplex off that top rope, you're gonna feel that impact. You can't fake it. You can't be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna pretend I'm not coming off the top rope, full impact."
They're wrestling rings. This is the big thing people don't understand. If you've seen Beyond the Mat, you can look it up on YouTube if you haven't. But and I seen it before there was a thing about YouTube. But Beyond the Mat documented it. But the thing about you got to think ECW things like that. They were like the brawler rooms. They were almost they really were death matches for the simple fact that
Ah,
you were doing your own stunts. Period. Like there
Mhm.
was
you are.
okay, when I whisper to you, it's gonna be a light tap. You're thinking about these are convicts, backyard brawlers, guys
Yeah.
who drink all day and don't stop.
Yep.
I mean, dudes that didn't make it in the major leagues of wrestling entertainment, so they're
Yeah.
fit anyway. They're getting shit money if they're not getting the big belt or get chose to go major in that particular instance. So when I was raising my son, I was like, "That's real life." Oh, it's a
Yep.
script there, but this shit's gonna hurt, homie. It's not about to feel good. So when they push the bar on performance for if for wrestling sports sake, McMahon was like he always tried to blow it off and be like, oh well, I mean, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, dude, what it was you knew you had to get better wrestlers because even if ECW was your development territory at some point, you agreed for that to be the case. They were going to get their asshole handed to them because those guys were about to play nice, man. It was the land of misfit toys. And so when I look at us, I look at us like that's who we are. That's who a lot of us are. But they still had a tactful presentation in the sense that it was packaged to where you wanted to be a part of it. So this is packaged here. We don't have like a basement with water dripping in the background, rats running in the background, spiders crawling off a web in the background, people sliding down, the side of the staircase in the background.
That'd be cool.
But it would definitely freak people out to the point
Yep.
where when you have certain guests on and they bring a certain je ne sais quoi energy, I want to make your product the best that I can. So when Raven was a part of ECW, he made the product the best he could. Sure, there's skewed points in it, but then you had options like Taz or Sabu. They all offer something new.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
offered something. Crow offers something as the producer. You offer something as a collaborator. Me as the guest, because of my vast experience and array of insight on certain things, will bring something to the product. And if
Right.
it's not doing that, it's degenerating it is destroying the product. And so all publicity anymore, and going back to what you were saying, Brother Crow, about how things can be good for better or for worse, and how that's changed with the rumor mill versus fact checking. It's the same now in 2026. You can't let everything fly. It's all being recorded, and if they don't come after you guys, they'll come after me.
Yeah.
Well, I try to tell people that. Sometimes I see some people saying some crazy stuff on public posts, and I'm like, you gotta be careful with that. You can't just like and I had to learn this through the years too. Sometimes I'd get drunk and say something crazy. And then I'm about to type something in a fit of rage. I'm like, nah, man, I shouldn't post this. But but when you're young in your 20s, and you're crazy, you're like, shoot, I'm gonna post this.
But Brother Poe, it's not even that, because it's like, yeah, we're gonna do some things. We're gonna be mad. We're gonna do all of that. But you can't. You, Brother Crow, myself, the brother that's absent right now,
Big Hoss. Yep.
Hoss, yeah.
We can't blame Metaverse,
Right.
Insta Scam, or you fool. Staying, no matter how weird and goofy they are sometimes with our content, we can't turn around and be like, oh, you're the reason why I'm not monetized anymore. You chose to say or do whatever you did. And that goes back to this. That goes back to, like, at the end of the day, they've got an interest to protect. This is the weird thing. Like, you got to ask yourself a question. At what point did people think it was okay to get on social media, say for instance, just Facebook off the barrelhead, off the top, and say, oh yeah, I'm going to say everything on here and incriminate myself? Even
people on themselves.
Or your girlfriend. Like, at what point do you think that's okay?
I don't know.
No, but like, if you say it, because I know I've got affiliates who, and people I'm associated with who do it, and that's fine if you're willing to take what comes with it for real.
Right.
On the news, like, don't cry about it. Just know, I said that. That's what I did. But you're not going to do that, are you? You're going to cry. You're going to be scared because you don't want to do Fed time.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I tell people. You got to be careful with social media or even broadcasting, because, like, especially once your audience gets bigger, then you got to be real careful once you get more.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Like this, like, you guys, not you in general, but hypothetically, people are underestimating who they have. You don't know who's on your show, really. Like, you don't really, just because, like, for instance, use me. This is what I was giving Brother Crow the example of. You can find me on AI, like, actually find the facts. That's the unique thing. Like, I've went from just being Googleable to, like, getting an actual bio produced by AI Google. Yep. Versus JoJo over here, who might even have more views and streams, and nobody knows who the F he is. No one. Like, when you go to type him up, you'll be like, damn, I can't seem to find that guy. But he's got so much stuff. And so that's the trickery and treachery of the internet.
See, that's the fun
you're putting in. It's like, who's automating the stuff?
Yep.
Like, versus like I have 14K on this video, right, on my channel, but all the other ones might like be 200 and this, but 14K people seen that.
Yep.
It's 14K people.
Yep. See, so, but here's the fun part.
5 to 6, 7 times. I've had it at least once. Versus
there you go.
Who's got all those views? And let me ask you this: have you ever heard of Rag and Bone?
Mm-hmm.
Who's Rag and Bone?
Exactly. So out of 2 people, he's heard of them, but you don't. And every time you pull me up, Rag and Bone shows up, but none of the people that know me know Rag and Bone.
Exactly. Yep.
There you go.
No, people definitely know you. I posted about the show and promoted it, and I posted on my page. People were liking it, and they were commenting. They say that they remember you, and I said, hey, check out the link, tune in live. And then, they were checking it out. So, yeah, people definitely remember you, and it's not so much because of the internet. I remember you just from memory, from when we were on Skeptics, when Houdini played your music. It stayed in my memory forever. You know, like, but like now when people talk about you, your name pops up. I'm like, oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Larry Robinson, that was Busy Bones, one of Busy Bones' primary managers, and one of my mentors said to me, and this is the first time I've ever said it on the air in years. He's been passed on now a few years. He said to me when he first started mentoring me, this was my introduction into like the seven sign sphere, and he said, Monty, he said, you have the number one voice. If it was going to be compared to someone, you have the number one comparable voice of the number one independent artist, and that's Busy Bone. Then he said you have the number one ear, which is comparable to the number one ear of the industry, which is Jay-Z. So I've been compared to Lloyd, Damon, not Lloyd, Jermaine Dupri, what's his name? Tribe Called Quest, Q-Tip, Cat Williams. The thing is, I've been this person. Me and Cat probably a similar age, but before I even knew Cat Williams, I had uncles that sounded like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Taz, jive, turkey talking, Caribbean people. But I've said all that to say this: that it's incredible, being here with you guys and having the love from everybody that we've had, because what makes us the tour de force is you guys. Like, we chose to be a brand for these moments. We chose to be a brand to make sure that the indies stay in the conversation.
Yep.
Fuck that other shit, man, if it's not including the indies, because we shouldn't have to suck cock and juggle balls just to do what we love. You feel me? And I mean the fuck out of that. I love my industry people. They know I do, because they're responsible for me being able to be where I'm at in this sphere, in this discussion or conversation. But all that extra garbage, man, it's not benefiting nobody. It's what I'm saying. The same way that we talked about the Civil War and how it didn't help us as a country, that all that stuff, the extra stuff they do sometimes, like the whole Aries Spears thing. This is a dude that did, I don't know if you guys remember this. Did you remember the blackface cover that he did for one of his direct-to-video? Come on, man. And you got the nerve to tell hip-hop R&B how they should be?
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
man. You're not.
No, that's true.
For us, he doesn't speak for hip-hop, R&B, and rock. He can't do that. You haven't dropped one record, man. You haven't dropped one iTunes, Apple song, Spotify. You never dropped a mixtape, and you skinwalked the LGBTQ for shits and giggles and never gave him any credit. Aries Spears. If you have to bleep it out, fine. But that dude can kiss my fucking ass through my jeans. Stop dissing the homies, the little homies that are coming up in music. Stop telling us what to do with hip hop, whether they're Caucasian, half Asian, full Asian, Malaysian, Italian, Jew. Stop telling us how to do hip hop and R&B, man, and rock. You're not a part of this conversation. Stay over there with the comedians. And he better be lucky that the internet is so fervently growing and widespread, or no one would give a fuck about his comedy, because he wasn't shit before he started getting those snippets on TikTok. And I yield my floor and rest the case.
Wow, boy, that's a mic drop moment there.
Woo! Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that's. See, again, if you can't, and again, I go back to, if you can't be real, then what's the point? So, why pretend and why be something else?
But blackface crow, like the epitome. I'm just saying, guys, venture with me as the cultures that you are, being supportive the way that you are. Just ask yourself a question. What the F? I don't care what the motive, like who said do it, but what the F was that though? As a comedian, knowing what we know about American history and what some people have gone through of a certain skin tone, I can't completely own it. I'm not going to fake like I can, because a lot of my family members were not in that situation, but they're my cousins. So I will talk and defend them. And him being a full-blooded African-American, as far as I know, brother, come on, blackface? And then you're going to turn around and talk about hip hop and R&B and what's authentic. Was it authentic when you put on blackface and was looking like Aunt Jemima Mammy servitude guy? Was that right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm not
Yeah.
scared to put people in the industry in their place when they're like minute. Like I
Right.
don't take on powers that be that I know should have respect put on their name. But a guy like that, you can't utilize the indie circuit or the indie pop, genre or industry so you can get your craps and giggles off just because Vlad's giving you airtime. That's not going to fly. What's going to happen is eventually from this platform to other platforms that I'm doing my campaign with, he's going to realize that if he doesn't stop, see, because this is the power of the internet, hashtags are very powerful.
Yeah, they are. Yep.
Mhm.
Why I say AI is nothing to fuck with when it comes to algorithms. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what we're doing on this platform, man, is so beautiful. What you guys do, I think the love, when we're able to get on platforms that have nothing but love and it can be pure. I have
Yeah.
no problem, like you said. I have no problem with input.
Yes.
Make it pure, though.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know exactly who that guy is, but do you think maybe he's trolling for views? And that's not right either to do it, but he's probably doing this for the views, right? But that's not the way to do it.
And that's interesting. I mean, I'm on Brother Crow's side when I try not to judge any of that. I try not to. I mean,
Right.
to his
Yeah.
own. But I'm saying, but when you come from a certain background and then you're acting like you didn't, but do you want to talk about the black? Why come you to? What if someone said, so Brother Ari Spears, can you explain why you chose to go back to blackface in the 20th century, the 21st century for one of the comedy specials? What was that about? You know what I'm saying? Or Brother Ari Spears, it's interesting you've been talking about mumble rap and how useless Tekashi 6ix9ine is and how useless Kodak is instead of trying to uplift the brother like Kanye did. Can you please explain to us when you kissed that guy, why were you trying to troll the LGBT community and never gave him any shots out for
Mhm.
Right.
him? Why did you ever give him anything? Have you ever given anything to the LGBTQ Foundation? Did you ever offer any of your funds like Marlon Wayans has for his children? Did you ever do that? Well, that's strike 2. Strike 3, what's that going to be? You're, like you said, trolling.
Right. He just trying to get views. I think you got to get your views from being real and authentic. You don't have to be offensive to get the views. I mean, as far as the way I do it, I don't go out there and say, "Hey, I'm gonna clown this guy for no reason," and because that's gonna give me views. But that's not the way.
What he probably didn't anticipate was Skin and Bones, aka Lamont F. and Cole, being on the J&J Productions or these other podcasts. I don't think that's the problem, though. That's what goes back to people, what we were talking about earlier. When you get online and you get mad and you're having a drunk night and you say, oh, yeah, I'm going to AKA this, that, and the other. Bleep, bleep, bleep. Next time you got to set up a new page. You got knocks at the door with black vans sitting outside. And you're like, oh, my uncle, he didn't say he was on his way today. And he's got a black van, but it's not the black van that you think it is. It's a whole different van. Another van, and then another van when you get to the chop shop. And you're not. I mean, come on, man.
Okay. You want a story about the black vans? I had an experience with that many years ago when I was researching conspiracy theories. So I had a friend. Me and him he would go deep into the internet, like deep into sites he probably shouldn't be on. He'd be sending me links through Gmail, and I guess they picked up on it. So I'm walking to the liquor store with my little flip phone. I get to the liquor store. There's a black helicopter. Unmarked black helicopter just hovering over the liquor store. It's right above the liquor store. You got people and little kids pointing up at it, and I'm like, oh man, they probably didn't like something we clicked, or we must have reached the part of the deep web you weren't supposed to. So that black helicopter was just still there. I swear, this was like 15 or 16. Anyway,
No, that's the point I'm making. Like, you actually are able to kind of talk about it, and I'm
Oh,
very
I've actually
respectful.
experienced something with the black helicopter. That's crazy. A black van, they straight up sent a helicopter.
But
So I was
very,
like,
very respectful of it, in all due respects to all organizations. But the thing is there you have it. And so
right.
I think that the universe gave you a pass because they knew that in the future you were going to be a very productive citizen. But the problem with all this is the hodgepodging of stuff. There's nothing wrong with speaking your piece, but when your piece disturbs the algorithm of other people's pieces, it turns into Reese's pieces and a bunch of sugar, and then your
Yep.
teeth get rotten, and then your teeth fall out. Then you
Mhm.
really don't want to use your mouth anymore.
There you go.
See?
Yeah. Yeah. I try to spread love and positivity instead of like negativity or attacking people or clowning people to get views. You know, like you were saying that guy was doing. So I always think,
Notice how I did it. Let's talk about flavor. We've all
right,
used a form of seasoning and flavor, right? We
Yep.
have
right,
been out on and sabotage the crash and burn, the live with StreamYard podcast with Samco CEO. We didn't do that. We didn't do that to Samco because some people, like you said, well, I've had some interesting things. I can only imagine because when you think of even about BB Gambini, also known as Busy Bone, he got on the radio station in Texas and he had his little, spell or instance, and people were like, "Oh wow," but that was entertainment. It's not like he did it 10 different times where he was just going crazy on the radio. He had interesting commentary, but it's
yeah,
like you look at someone like Ari Spears, all he does is just go off on a tangent about something he has nothing to do with. That's all
Yep.
I'm saying. I'm not
exactly.
saying we can't
True.
commentate. I still want to clear it up. I'm not saying we cannot commentate. I'm saying you don't have a stock or a horse in this race.
Right.
So your opinion, let's go with the opinion now. Your opinion doesn't even matter because you're not a rapper, you're not a singer.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. And like you were saying, me, even though I do rap, I used to kind of get mad about the way rap changed, but not anymore because I'm more mature. But I always say the young people are going to do what the young people are going to do. I come from the 90s, so I have a different style of rapping and singing than they do. Although now a lot of people sing and rap like Bone. So that's actually kind of popular to sound like that. But I don't knock them. I say the kids are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to invent new stuff. They're going to whatever they want. And like the older rappers are going to do it how they feel like doing it. But everybody should be able to do what they want. Yeah.
Hold, watch this though. This is what I was telling Fro before you graced us with your presence. This is something that a lot of people wouldn't know unless they researched me. I helped create what you now know as mumble rap. Like when I came in, the way that I started growing that sound once I hit that rock and R&B point in my semi-professional career. That's why. Let me tell you something. Nobody was wearing leather pants, shiny leather pants with weird makeup on their face. The stuff you're seeing Playboy Cardi do.
Mhm.
All those guys, bro. I was the first one. Ask Deanie. I was the first one to do that.
Wow, you invented a lot of styles. Damn.
Well, I'm saying with the goth. Nobody that did this was doing goth rock like that. They didn't know nothing about it. They weren't wearing rock shirts. They weren't doing that.
Yeah.
I was the one wearing a lot of shirts and all that kind of stuff, and still was gangster, right?
Yeah.
I remember you doing that before everybody years ago. Like,
Right. So 2011, we went viral, right? Young Thug didn't come out to about late 2011, 2012. My promoters were Nigerians in Atlanta. See what I'm saying? Bone
Yep.
Thugs, Lazy Bone and Crazy Bone used to live in Atlanta. Nobody. So the Young Thugs, the Playboy Cardis, the Trippy Reds. By the way, he's from Canton, Ohio. There you have it. So they're doing their thing now, but we gave birth to them. So that's why I say I can no longer allow them to be attacked because they're my little cousins. They're our little brothers, right?
right.
And I am an offspring of Bone, right?
Yep.
In a way,
Yeah.
right? So
Yes, Mark.
so
Yeah.
it's not just about the young people doing what they're going to do, because I'm going to give you one more and I'm going to let y'all take it away again.
Okay.
Bone was like that. You see what I'm saying? Bone was young.
Yep.
They were the first rap singers, right? I mean, besides this one's for my homies, right? So,
Yep.
so when Bone was rapping, think about it. I know you remember because you weren't listening to it like we were. You're like, what are those guys talking about? That sounds crazy, right? It was mumble rap. It was proto prehistoric mumble rap. Right?
See that?
Yeah, that's
You didn't know what they were saying. You didn't know what they were. Did you know they didn't have lyric sheets? I'm asking, did they have lyric sheets?
nope.
So we didn't know what they were saying. We didn't know what they were saying. Hey, body. We were just making up our own. Oh, yeah, that's what they said, man. Okay, how about this? I'm gonna go somewhere where you are, Brother Crow. We didn't even know what Kurt Cobain was saying.
Yeah.
Oh no.
We didn't even know he didn't have lyric sheets. He had a poem sheet. We didn't know what he was saying. He didn't know what he was saying.
Well, I know for sure. I'm gonna put this up here. This is because we're having a good time here. I know we're gonna get further going. Here's the other show here. This is where we're gonna have you come on here. This is our party show. So this is where we get crazy. We have drinks at night. It's one big party.
Yeah, popping bottles, whatever you want to do, blaze it, snacks. It's just, people can call in and have fun. It's just just hanging out. Yeah.
Yep.
And I wasn't trying to take over anything, guys. You guys kind of got me going, man. I'm like, this, where we are today, 2026, man. I mean, based it off what you were saying, Poe, like trolling, that just kind of set a fire. I'm like, I get that. That's cool. But picture what I described he does versus 6ix9ine. We like the way he trolls, even if we don't listen to his music. He's entertaining.
He's funny. I actually watch his videos. Like, he's funny. Like, he's out there with the umbrella playing the Usher song, dancing. Yeah, we all were laughing. Like, that's hella funny. We're like, he's out there trolling with the umbrella and dancing because that's funny. It's comedy. You know, it's
like Ari Spears. It's like he's trying to be a politician or something. He's like trying to build up the hip hop Gestapo. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's going on, dude? Are you working? He's like trying to rebuild the SS or something for hip hop and R&B. It's weird, man. I'm like, well, dude, who sent you?
I mean, it's like music's gonna evolve and change. It's not gonna stay the same. But if people want stuff like the fast rap, that's still out there. You know, like the Bone.
So that's what I'm thinking in my mind.
So if you want the music, you can still find it.
Changed it. How does this is what I want to know? See, you sparked me again. How can he doesn't go after Bone then, Crow and Poe? How can you have to do something with that, Crow and Poe? How can he go after Bone if he's so mad about mumble rappers because Bone was the first? But he won't do that because he'll get his ass whooped. So why is he attacking the
Yeah. That's the reason, though. That's the reason what you said. Exactly.
He
That's
started it. So if he's so mad about these kind of rappers, guess what? When Bone came out, they made Mo Thug Records. Every last person on that label almost sounded like Bone.
Oh yeah, people would rap fast. They would harmonize. Besides, like Ken Dog had like the slower pimp flow. But yeah,
and that's 1% out of 99, right? So
yeah,
that would be Tory Lanez or something. See what I mean?
Yep.
Yes,
that makes sense.
It's weird.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even know about this guy, but I think earlier you did talk about the guy that was mad at Bone about the clearance sample. That was crazy.
And I'll forgive him faster because he's kind of young, right?
He's a young dude. He looks really young.
Spears is around our age, and it's just kind of like, dude,
that's different.
I'm like, dude, do you like babysit kids or something? Like, are you mad because you work at a daycare secretly and you're mad about young people? And he's talking about he got kids of his own. And I just want him to like make an album or shut the hell up, man.
Right. Show us how it's done. If it's not being done.
He went on a radio station and started freestyling. And I mean, I used to really like him because he could do impersonations. He could do Jay-Z. He could do DMX and all that. But I'm like, okay, so then he got on this radio station. He's like, oh, this is my freestyle. And he did it. I'm like, so where's the iTunes? Where's the Apple Music song at?
Right. Where's the record at? Exactly. It's
He's
like
not gonna do that because he knows nobody's going to stream the fucker.
Yeah, there you go. So, man, this is some good stuff right here. I love this. See, I don't even know about what's going on. I knew about that guy that was mad about the Toy Stug sample because it went viral. And I'm in all the Bone groups, so people kept posting. I was like, oh, what the hell is this? I was like, this is crazy. You know, but the other guy I haven't heard of because I'm not really, like, plugged into stuff like that. I'm in my own little world most of the time, but I do follow what Busy Bone does and Bone does a lot, you know, like mostly them and like who else do I follow? The Rock.
Did you hear about
pretty much all the people that I followed in the 90s. But yeah.
Did you hear about Sexy Red getting because she tried to use the Beat It sample? You heard about that?
Oh yeah, I did hear about that. That was going viral.
Why did she do that instead of Beat It? They said it says Eat It. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
y'all just doing anything, man. Like, you can't just molest people's stuff in the industry just because you can. I mean, you're going.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing. Do anything for views, though. That's how it's become. Like,
but you know, if that's the case, this is the sad part. Ghosty is that, and Crow is that. This is, again, with the internet, it's a quicker way to get effed up because if your currency is online, if that's your royalty check, right, they're going to take all that once it gets to a certain level. When they hit you with the lawsuit and the cease and desist, you got to get that back in a way, kind of.
Yeah.
Careful, you got to be careful with what you do. It's all, you got to be aware. Yeah, like I'm real careful. I run a page on Facebook that's doing pretty good. And I'm building on my YouTube, but I'm careful not to say something stupid and ruin it before it goes somewhere, you know. Yeah, and as far as my
if what she was going for was the viral part, I get it. I know, I get how we all get how it works. I'm just saying financially, it was the same instance as someone getting shadow banned or demonetized in a way for that particular. Since she's so big, she doesn't have to worry about being completely shut down. But the Michael Jackson estate, though, that's like the Elvis Presley estate or something. I don't know if I want to like get attacked.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to like send letters and emails and stuff.
I'm good. I'm not.
You just have to pay that. That's what you got to pay that. You can't like. That's like trying to dodge like what Lazy Bone went through. You know, he was in it. He was in with the IRS for 7 years worth. That's why Big Cass had to help him with Mo Thugs, man. 7 years worth with the IRS, bro. Like, that's the same equivalency to having to run into the Dolly Parton estate or the Michael Jackson estate or Elvis Presley estate. Like, those guys are going to really send lawyers after you and
yes, they are. Yeah,
social media and start demonetizing you. So, like, if they don't pay.
They'll either demonetize or take all your money or both. First, take all the money and then demonetize.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't think that for all the money that she has in an account, most people, like you were saying, Crow, like are not still in the modern era of the 90s and where we use bank accounts and separate them.
Yep.
Some people just plug their stuff right into the YouTube thing and the account feeds that way. No, I'm not going to speak too much on it, but that's not really what you should do because you'll turn around and be Sexy Red. And if they hit her, I guarantee you she's got a Cash App or a PayPal connected to that. Yes. And the moment that they hit that YouTube feed, they're pulling the plug out. All the lights go off.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like you gotta be careful in the industry, in the music industry, any kind of entertainment. Yeah, my friend always tells me about that. He says, "Be careful! Don't ever try to steal content or get a copyright. You know, because they'll come after you. They're not going to play." He's always about that. I'm like, yeah, all my content's 100% original, always.
What music have you guys been listening to lately? Like, start with you, Crow, and then you, Po. Like, what music is in your playlist at this time?
Oh yeah, let's go. This is a good one.
That's a tough. I mean, I've been listening to a lot of newer tracks. Like I said, pop, rock, and culture. Actually, honestly, I've gotten into a lot more Black Sabbath lately, so I've been listening to that a little bit. I'm also, I haven't listened for a while. I'm a big Beatles fan. I haven't listened to it a while, but and I love Michael. I listen to Michael Jackson, obviously.
Okay.
I think some of my other ones. I listen to
Michael Jackson's, like late 70s, 80s, or 90s, Michael.
A little bit of both. My favorite track is Thriller. That was one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the video was insane. Like that was like the hype at the time. Like for
Yeah.
creativity, at least for then.
Yeah.
Then, but a lot of the more classics. I'm trying to think of some. I do listen to some Taylor. Just obviously she's popular. I've listened to some. What's her name? Sabrina Carpenter. Like some of the newer artists. Just kind of hearing like what they have to put out there. Just because obviously they're new and they're what's hip and fresh right now. But I divert to the Queen. I listened to a lot of Queen lately too.
Cool.
I've heard of Queen, but I don't think I listened to them. I have to investigate them.
Yeah, so those are like I like to mix it up a little. My playlist is very eclectic, where I mix old versus new, and I kind of like to kind of put it on repeat and loop it through, and kind of get the best of both worlds.
Gotcha. What about you, Poe? What's kind of the top 5 songs or 10 songs of your playlist?
A lot of Bone Thugs and Harmony. Still, yeah.
I imagine.
I like stuff like Tech Nine, stuff like Brother Lynch Hung. But I do listen to some rock stuff because my friends, they're into the rock and pop. So stuff like Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie. The dark stuff especially, and what else? And I listen to
Cooper.
all that, and then also I listen to some pop stuff, but some of the newer stuff I forget what their names are, but there's some songs floating around here and there that I do like. I just listen to whatever I like.
I'm a little retro. What I've lately been listening to on the rock side, I will say it's been Smashing Pumpkins. Price High box
them too. That's another one we listened to the other day with my friends. But yeah,
I've been listening to their box set. I'll say I have listened to some Do or Die, Twister.
Yeah.
That's good. All that stuff. Yeah.
I listened to all the outtakes from the Nevermind sessions that didn't make it, so I've got like a 12-song track list of that.
Yep.
I love listening to Bush. I mean, I love Bush, man. Contrary to popular belief, I love how they constructed Razor Blade Suitcase because the late Steve Albini, who did In Utero, did the Razor Blade Suitcase, and there's something very caustic and scurvy about. I think he intended to try to clone in a way the ethos and mythos of In Utero. So because of that, and I feel like he did a great job. A lot of the reviews on Bush is when it comes to Razor Blade is very biased. But what I love about that album, they also say it's probably like the last album of a grunge sounding type of thing.
I love grunge. Grunge was awesome
prior to Soundgarden breaking up. So you guys get a chance to take a listen to that. Like it's an experience for the very simple fact that it was recorded stripped down, right? But it still has a very polished energy, and it feels like a movie. It feels like a rock movie soundtrack, So I really respect that. It does have a melancholy and an infinite sadness meets in utero type of energy.
Ooh, I think I would love that because I love stuff that's like emotional. I've been listening to like a lot of instrumentals, a lot of classical music, but that sounds cool. Have you guys ever heard like Rock Collapse, A Perfect Circle? Did you guys ever like it?
Oh, because he came from Tool. I love Perfect Circle.
Yeah.
I grew up listening to all that because my friends were heavy into rock. They had a rock band. I was the rapper, but they were all punk rockers, metalheads, hardcore rockers. So they all played music, and I'd be in the car with them, and I'd be like, "Man, this stuff is cool." Like I've been, and then I would show them some of the rap stuff. They liked Bone Thugs and DMX and Ice Cube and all that, and they were saying, "Yeah, some of this stuff is pretty good too." So we traded, like music.
If you guys go to SoundCloud, I've got a new rock project, a couple rock projects, but my favorite one is the A Ladies mini album. I think I've about 9 songs. I had real fun with that. We're about to work on a live band thing where people will be able to pay-per-view to see us live. Yeah, man. That was
so we could come to the shows.
Yeah, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to cater to, because we have an international online presence that we tap in and out of, and we're at a point as a company where we we want to invest more in the people that are overseas and that are just online in general to give it versus when we set up who are the person who's booking, who's putting it together, whoever their people are, the band's people, they can come, but it's going to almost be like the way that you see in studio, like back in the 90s and the 80s, how they would have an in studio thing going on and there would be nobody in there except the technical people, you
Mhm.
know. I want to do that. I want to, which is what they did with Elvis Presley. Even though he was in Vegas and there was an audience, what most people don't know is when he did Elvis live, one of the few times that they did this at that time was they had satellites across the world that they set up to where people could watch that show from TV, which is something that they normally didn't do for artists at that time. So that's what we're going to do with the internet. With the reason
Oh,
why
nice.
we'll be able to do this is because um the people that do follow us and do want to see more from us, and it's just a bit more easier to do that, and it's cost efficient and it gets to the point that there's nothing worse that I hate than wasting money and wasting time, man.
Right.
Yeah.
When I've gotten a studio, like you look at Busy Bone, you look at Pac, you look at certain artists of even like Nirvana that can get in the studio and just knock the shit out, bro.
Hmm.
So we get in there, we do about 40 minutes to an hour of jamming and music, and
Right.
make it available for purchase. $5 to $15. You view it to get in to see it. Snippets that will be free, trailers that'll be free, downloadable material, and then 3 times out of a month you can watch us. Just like the way you say it's a party, that's what we want to do for the people, live music wise, and they can just do it at the comfort of their own home because the club is played out. And furthermore,
Yeah, exactly.
the crowd, because who wants a bunch of shenanigans when you want to produce a healthy product for people to enjoy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
You're like, I think, crossing over into the future of music. You're like ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, you're the future, man. Like you're already thinking way ahead. That's what I think.
Busy's responsible for that. Busy, Michael, Tupac, Prince, Nirvana, those
Yeah.
guys are Billy Corgan. They're all responsible for that. Like, but from my neck of the woods, people that I do, Busy Bone and G Clef of Wu Tang, like Busy of Bone and G Clef, those guys were the first ones to go to the internet that were in that world. Now, I truly think that had Kurt not been unalived and be alive today, he would have definitely been a part of the internet, getting it right to the people. Vinyl on demand. I could have easily seen Kurt
Oh
doing.
yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm
for
saying?
sure.
Rest in peace, Kurt, man.
Yeah. Yep. Wow.
I
Man, a
know,
lot
pretty
of.
unexpected. I didn't expect this. I'm pretty surprised myself.
So
Well,
so,
we always like to have very interesting guests, and like I said, I am always surprised at how interesting these things go. Because again, I don't script it; I like to let it
we're
flow,
in
the
script.
natural flow of the ocean. So
I told you this was gonna be an interesting interview. Remember, I told you, Sam Crow.
yeah,
I told
yep,
you. Yep.
yep,
Well, I don't mind scripting anymore because when I first got accepted into the affiliate, there were questions and things, but it kind of became mundane. Like they do Bone, they ask them the same questions. Whereas I sensed that this was a more opened in platform, and I'm not the one to like to do open in as much as I used to anymore because unless it's something that sparks my fancy, I don't want to be the one that's over talking the interviewers because sometimes the interviewer will have great questions or great points. But
Mhm.
fortunately, on this platform, it's very balanced
yeah,
and engagement of the engagement frequency of it all, being able
yep,
to bounce historical or historical facts that you guys are at least in somewhat of the know about, which
hmm
is what also I feel is the future for next level podcasting and interviews. Because what I was discussing with you guys as far as that guy was concerned, the comedian Shmi,
Yeah.
that's about to be out. All that
Yeah,
troll stuff.
I feel that.
Especially because he
Yeah,
is mainstream. Like this is punk rock, dude. And we run the internet. You guys don't. They don't get it. They still don't
Right.
get it. They
they
think
don't.
they run it, and they don't. You can only bring stuff down, but as much as you erase it and try to shadow ban it, people are just going to re-record. They're going to make copies and just re-upload it. That's just all it is.
Mhm.
And not just that, people want to connect with real people now. People kept telling me they like the show because we're real people. We're not all Hollywood. We're not phony. We don't like just troll for the views. I mean, I will say some jokes here and there, but I don't get out here and say, hey, let's talk some crap about some people so I could just get a ton of views. And no,
I'm not going to deny this, I'll again. This is where I become a derivative or a splinter of your superior verse.
Mhm.
I call myself Hollynapolis. That's our brand because I left Indianapolis and went to Hollywood and came back Hollynapolis. But where the buck stop is that I'm Hollywood for the people.
yes,
For
for the
Hollywood.
people, that's beautiful.
Yep.
I'm just saying that's redundant. Like I don't know if Hollywood knows it or not, but guys, you're doing entertainment for people. I don't care what psyops and IOPS and whatever you think you're doing. I mean, because eventually people are gonna be like, but I don't like that. You know how when we were kids, we're like, no, but I don't like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so eventually it's like, no, so I'm not gonna watch that. You know, I mean, peekaboo is like these kids don't like it. It's scary.
Yep.
And they're doing like, no, that's weird. You know, like my son when he was little, excuse me, there's a
Sure.
video that his mom sent me. They were in McDonald's and it was a wind-up toy, right? And she had wound it up and it was crawling on the table making a noise. And my son at the time, he had to be every bit of 3 or 4, and he was like, I don't like that noise. I don't like that noise. And he just had a
Yeah.
fit. No, 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 mommy, no. You know, it was a wind-up toy. But that's us, like, dude, what is that? Like, no. And they
Yep.
think that if they do it enough, everybody has to go along. So this goes all the way back to the whole Civil War talk. It's like you guys did all of that, and when you look at it, whatever you thought you accomplished, you didn't.
Mhm.
Exactly.
It's not even about African Americans as much as people, as much as you guys may think it is, or anybody wants it to be. I'm telling you, it wasn't, because if it was, one or two things would have happened. And I'm not saying that we're not on paper some kind of way fighting for our own freedoms and liberties. That's a far cry from being in chains, though. Even if
Sure.
you're
Well,
changing
yeah.
the minds or whatever, you can do all that. This is where I split the metaphors for a minute and say, listen, for one, this is not about African Americans, Black Americans, or Indigenous people, because they participated in the war. The Indians participated with the Confederacy, and it still turned out shank. I'm saying Caucasian Americans it did, because what you did was you pulled the plug out of the Confederate soldiers' livelihood and forced them to put on sheets.
Yep.
Go figure. You know what I'm saying? I mean, didn't they know? I mean, they were like, "Oh, really? Well, don't worry, I've got a plan." You know, you know what I'm saying? And that was like the first way of being anonymous. You see what I'm saying? And so then it evolves, and we go into the latter parts of the 20th century. Now they don't have to do that anymore because it suits, and it's like us versus them, us versus ourselves, we versus me versus you. All of this stuff could have been slightly, I say slightly, avoided if we just kind of let it, the cable sleep, let it kind of just pollinate itself and let it kind of, do its thing. Because when you're overbearing about so much stuff, something is just going to get away. And what gets away is going to be the very thing you were trying to not get away.
Exactly.
So they got away. The South got away still. Like if you go down south now, it's like the most warmest place to be, even though it's the most dangerous and scariest place to be. Up north, everybody's like, "Oh, get your hand away from me." I live here, I know. Like, get your hand. What do you think? You think this is the South or something? And we're all disgruntled. And it's like, but I thought you guys were liberating the country. Why are you so fucking stiff in the neck?
Fair point. Yeah.
With a hard stick in your ass. Like, what's the problem? Because they realize it got away.
Yep. Well,
Go down south trying to be northern, man, you're gonna get your ass kicked, man. Yeah, right. You know, like you better take that stuff back up north with you. You know, like that's just where we're at as a people. Like knowing when and where, like you were saying, when to hold it, fold, and let it go. And I think it's just a fascinating discussion because I'm more exhilarated on it because when I see the different things that pop up on social media about, oh, I'm a foundational Black American. I'm like, it sounds good on paper, but on a civil Black laws fourth edition level, that's an oxymoron, though. That was just like a
Mhm.
Caucasian person calling themselves white. If you're saying white in status, I get it, no problem. Do you? But you're not white because if you were, you'd be Casper the Friendly Ghost.
There you
You know
go.
what I'm saying?
Fair
I'm
point.
saying
Yeah,
so.
that's
So
fair.
guess what? You're not white, and I'm not black. It just doesn't work like that. It
Yep.
does on paper, which is why Africans and Mexicans can sign as white. Did you know that? So I'm
Yep.
just saying, like, if that's the case, if they're letting Africans from Africa and Mexicans from Mexico be white, then it must be bigger than a shade of color. And I'll just leave it there. That was only said to say I think that it was a mistake to go after the Southerners the way that they did because when
Yep.
you put somebody in a corner, they're going to strategize a way to get your ass back.
Oh
Like
yeah.
if you keep Jeremy spoken clearly yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's going to be a fucking no offense, rest in peace. I'm for real. But I'm saying that to say he got the last laugh in his own way. They're gonna
Yep.
be scarred for the rest of their lives. They
Yep.
never picked on the kid. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're gonna
Well,
wear that for the rest of their lives. So guess what? The North has to wear this for the rest of their lives, man. And then
boom.
this kicker, it's a free country to the point of traveling and driving, right? So
Mhm.
people
Yeah,
from the South can come up the North and fuck it up all they want to.
there you go.
There you
Get
go.
jobs and be like, yeah, you didn't know this, but my great grandfather said he knew you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're pulling the plugs out of corporate. Oh, so you say we lost $100,000? Wonder where that went. This is for my great grandmother. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right,
Yep.
man. Like seriously, like nobody ever thought about the Manchurian candidate and espionage, and we're worried about what's going on in other countries with weapons of mass destruction, and you got some pissed off Southerners getting jobs in the North in the '80s, turning yuppie and tearing it up. Man, you were making your own backyard for you trying to sweep next door to somebody else's.
There you go.
well,
Yeah.
well, I gotta say, this has been probably the most epic interview we've had. I know it's only February technically,
Yeah, that's only
but
fair. That's
it's only
crazy.
February, and so we're definitely gonna invite Brother Bones to come back. Hopefully, you want to come back. We'll want to have you come on the party show if you'd like, because again, we have a lot more fun there. We drink and we have all kinds of fun stuff. It gets kind of crazier than this, if you can believe it.
This was a lot of fun too, though. I like to have the intellectual conversations. I like Skin and Bone Talks. I've been watching his videos on Facebook for a while. And yeah, he gets deep, but you have to like have read some books, maybe been in touch with the spiritual world and like the essence of the soul. And he reminds me a little bit of Busy Bone. Busy Bone's also like a deep thinker, very spiritual.
Yeah.
And to know what they're talking about, sometimes you have to have studied certain things or been in the spiritual. But if you do, your mind lights up when you hear certain phrases or words like, "Oh, I know what he's saying. I've read that book."
I'll say this in closing. The thing is that we cut the stories. I was just telling Crow that we doing this more often now, and we're making more appearances just because we wanted to have more value as we move forward into the future. And if Sister Chahazi is available, we'll have her sit in like we did the last time for Skeptics. This will be a different sister, but she definitely is a good soul, and she has these little sprites of wisdom that tend to bud out. I think it'll be fun, to do those kind of things. So definitely appreciate you guys having us on the show. Don't
Yeah.
forget to kind of
Yeah.
air those songs out, spread them around, so we know what kind of input we got for when you guys invite us back.
Of course, yeah. Well, and again, we don't want to. We always do this too. Part of traditional of it too is we'll do that, but we're missed before we end everything too is where we can have, especially if this is new listeners and people watching. Where can they find Skin and Bones? Where can we hear everything? Where can we listen to your music? If you wouldn't mind sharing that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the beauty of what work we've put in via the World Wide Web.com is Googling SKIN hyphen N hyphen BONE $ and put rap singer next to it, or Hollynapolis HOLLYNAPOLIS, or you can put the Skin and Bones the way it's spelled and put Bone Thug next to it. More than likely do Rap Singer or Hollynapolis, but that's also a way to find other interviews and stuff. But that's
Okay.
pretty much why we don't have a bunch of websites and whatnot. That's because honestly, you can just Google us and find a plethora of things. But SoundCloud is where we've been dropping a lot of music. Apple
Okay.
will pop up, Spotify will pop up.
Okay. Yeah, no, we'll definitely point people that way. Again, if there's any links that you can share, I can add them. Like we have our little QR code up there. If you want to share stuff, I can always add that, and it just flashes right there for folks. We
Okay,
can
cool.
do that.
Yeah, I'll send. Do you have the stuff we've sent you still, or?
I have that. Yeah, I'm gonna collectively put that together. I got that. Yep.
Okay, cool. That would
Yep.
be great, man. Because yeah, man, we're just rocking and rolling and such. Poe, man, you've grown, man. I'm really proud of you, man. You've turned into an extraordinary being. You've got a good group of people. And I like how this umbrella or this tree branch with Deanie and his presence in the media world. You got to think I've been there since the beginning. So
Yes.
to see him kind of spread and pollinate, it's just so beautiful, and I'm going to definitely chop it up with him and let him know how proud I am of him, because now Skin is coming out of the shadows, man, and it's about to be a hell of a ride for all of us.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
We said it before too. Like in all of us, even for Poe, myself. I mean, I only met everybody through Deanie. Like literally, that's how we all met. So.
It was this podcast group called Pod Squad. Yeah, that's
Awesome.
Yeah, and so
I'll
we all.
definitely talk to you guys behind the scenes, so you might direct us, because I think I'm ready to set up something on myself, and you guys might be able to guide the OG into the brighter lights.
Be glad to, yeah, for sure.
definitely yes.
Yeah, no, we're trying to be the, like I said, not to flaunt it, but we want to be that. We're trying to take the podcast world by storm. For us, that's our vision, our goal. So, we're trying to separate ourselves from the rest. I don't want to say we want to crush the competition, but we want to be something unique. That's why we have what we have going, and just from all the stuff we've been collabing and working on. I mean, we really hit the ground running, and we appreciate the support. We've had a lot of listeners, a lot of Pose listeners. We have others that know, like from Deanie, from Vigilantes. We've had Voice of the Fans has been big for us. So, we're trying to grow it and make something massively large. And we say we all can succeed together if we work together, as opposed to trying to work against each other. So that's kind of been the goal. I think, again, we got a good group of people. We're all pitching in and doing different things.
Yeah.
We say too, we all have different skill sets, which makes this nice. We all kind of have a different job to do within the organization. What we do, we network and we do all that stuff. So, and again, it's because of the viewers, you guys watching, listening, the guests that we have. We have a lot of great people that have been working with us and through us, and just, support is unbelievable. And we're definitely going to, well, I'll just say we're going to officially tie in Skin and Bones here. We're definitely going to promote here from J&J Production Studios. We're claiming that here. If you don't want to be the best, you got to claim it here. So we're going to promote and do that. So if you guys like that, make sure you follow. We'll have more stuff coming from there. But we'll definitely have you come back. And again, we'll get you on the party show. That's always a good time. That's an awesome time. We always love doing that. And Poe's favorite time because he goes nuts with it. So
it's a lot of fun. I mean, this was a lot of fun too. Like I said, I do like conversations with the wisdom. I love always learning something new, because you can learn something new every day. And that's how you grow.
You guys have this on the show, and like I said, I'm going to get with you guys behind the scenes so we can get more of a machine, because we all need spokespeople, and I would love, based off of how you guys operate via net and whatnot, to be a spokesperson. The best way to do that is to package something and carry it to my derivative part of where we go. And that's just what I've done when it was BoneThugStory.net. It was Beyond the Harmony. It was The Wasteland. Or media that we vigilante at any era of their existence. It's and I'm an off and on type of person, and like with
Sure.
Busy when he started coming out with an album every year on his birthday, I'm ready to do that in the multimedia world. Just stay more engaged, and I think you're
Yeah.
going to be a good part of that machine to do that with.
Well, we appreciate that. Yeah. Anyway, we love to help, so we're more than willing to do whatever we can. And again, that's kind of the mainstay part of our mission too. Is we're growing, but we like to help others grow too. So again, it's a mutually beneficial type of deal where everybody can sort of get something from somebody. And again, we help each other. Nobody's trying to, same thing. Why, like, we've had the shows like with Poe, we collabed, and even with Deanie. We have similar ideals, we have similar visions that we're doing, but we kind of blend it nicely where we're not trying to outdo one another. We're really trying to make this a collective project where we're building something. And like I said, I give Deanie a lot of credit because that's and I'll say this, I'll share this because this is always a fun story. I know Poe has heard this and Haas has heard this, but you can tell something is destined to be when I was shopping when we launched our shows and we were trying to get out there so people knew that we had these podcasts growing. I was being very particularly anal about who we're going to. I had a lot of people reach out that wanted me to appear on the show, on their shows, and I'm kind of sorting through. Like I couldn't settle on one. There was one show which I don't remember the name offhand. I won't say it anyway, just because I don't want to offend anybody either. But there was one I was considering. I almost booked the show, and then as luck would have it, as they say, I got a contact from Houdini Demetrius Reynolds, who said, "Hey, you're looking for make an appearance. I got this show called Vigilantes Radio," and I looked. I said, "Oh, okay." So I went on, and then went back on again. And Poe knows this part of the story because this is how I met him and the others. Just randomly, Deanie texted me one day and said, "Hey, as I mentioned to Brother Bones earlier when I said he complimented my voice in her, he goes, 'Hey, I think you'd fit in well. We got this other group of show. We sort of have like our own Hollywood squares of guys that talk, and we talk about different things. Would you want to do the show?' I said, 'Sure.' I was kind of nervous. I didn't know, because I hadn't done anything with collabs people before, but I went on and said to Deanie, 'Yeah, I loved it. Want to come back?' And came back for more. And then he's like, 'Hey, you want to be a regular on the show?' I got to be a regular on the show, and right, and the rest was just history. So but the point of it is that some of these things, as I'm not always a big avid believer of, but the stars align kind of for a reason. And so when you see that, and we've been fortunate, everybody we've dealt with that has some free branch of this whole system, we have been blessed with a lot of great folks that share similar views, similar mindsets. And so, we credit that where we have what we have today because of those people. So, I totally agree with there. I think, relationships there are very crucial. As much as people like to say, we've had people that don't want to collab that said, "No, we're not interested. We don't like the brand that you do." And I'm not offended. That's not for everybody. I get it. I don't like to close doors. I leave the doors open, but sometimes, the right people come, the right people come. So, again, and even for you coming on, Deanie said, "Hey, I think he just did an interview with you." He goes, "I might mention him about your show. You want to have him on?" I said, "Sure." He gave you my number. I said, let him reach out to me. I said, "Sure. I'm always looking for, people on the show." And so again, the connections, the thought process, it's really been helpful. So I always want to give back. So I think we can all benefit. I think this would be a great system of growth for everybody. Again, and I said too, we have a great audience base, and we all, between all the shows that we feature, it reaches out to a lot of people, and we're still growing. Actually, we have at least a couple of people more that we're looking at joining on the network to show. We're trying to have like this huge, big production there. So it kind of takes we have content going all the time. So it's kind of nice when you see that kind of flow system. But no, we really appreciate, having it. Like I said, I know it's only February, but this is probably the funnest interview we've had thus far. And I'm sure it can only get better going from there. So we appreciate that. But it's really awesome. So we're glad that you could be here for sure.
Oh yeah, the pleasure is mine. Like I say, guys, you kind of got me in the in the Liddy state just because everybody's mind was open. and
Yeah.
it was just a more like a Dateline, but
Yep.
more punk rock style. So that's the approach we took. Very different for me, in the fact that we were able to take it to different dimensions other than music.
Yeah.
Like I
Oh
said,
yeah.
haven't done in a while.
Yeah, no, that's how we roll it here. Like I said, we are that potpourri of things that we can offer. And I said the Poe for this one. This I think I told Dean this at the time when I was dabbling at music back in the day. I know it's not an original concept, but I looked at it as I want it to be multidimensional as far as that goes because that opens doorways to different people, different groups. People like certain things. I want it to be that chameleon effect, that blend where I could offer something for anybody. So, it's not just an age range or demographic here. We kind of appeal to a wider net. We cast that net out of more options for a larger scale audience because you think about it, if you do that, why limit yourself? It only gives you a chance to grow. And honestly, you look at it, how many other shows and things like this that you see out there on it, really, I've seen similar things, but I'm like the OG there. Who's gonna copy? You can copy me, but you can't beat me exactly. So who else is gonna do that, right?
It's funny you say
So
that because I feel the same way about offering up ideals or even being who we have. Like, even though we're just now getting our credit as when we were on, be like a couple years ago, we were on Beyond and Harmony a few years back, we finally got that recognition, and we've always inside of the Bone universe had that, but it's getting to the point now to where that's why I said earlier, sometimes it's better just to keep doing you, and you're gonna always have imitators, but
yeah,
originators, that's something different.
right, exactly. So I said I
Yes.
don't mind people copycat as long as I'm the OG there. And I said,
Yeah.
I have my own stamp on there. You can copy me all you want, but you can't. You ain't gonna be the original. No one's gonna be me. There's nobody else out there. I appreciate the copycats and the doppelgangers, but this is something that we only feature here, and it's only grown. And same thing, Big Hoss has his own personality. We know we've had quite the slew there. We've had quite the blending. So it's something that we feel is very truly special and unique. And again, it all comes down to the viewers and people that have listened to us, that have been following us now. We've been on the airways for I think 4 years now. We're counting. So
Wow.
this has been massive, and it's only grown, and we appreciate all that. So we hope you guys definitely go and support Skin and Bones there and check out everything there. You guys, we can have that. We'll have them come back. We're gonna invite them on the party show. You guys love the party show. Here, I'll flash it again because everybody seems to like. This is the new background. Actually, one of our newer associates,
We
he
get crazy.
designed this himself. The talent is really there. Look at that.
Yeah,
I mean,
nice.
he
Yeah.
just said out of the blue one night, he goes, "Hey, I got an idea. You needed some logos, right? I want to design." I said, "Yeah, give me what you got." This is what they came up with. But this is the party show. So this is going to be the one where this is where Poe really shines. He's the master of drinks and everything. So
Yeah, getting faded.
just remember, no heavy drinking till you fall asleep. I mean, actually, I was going to say, depending on your schedule, we do have a special coming up episode if Brother Bones wants to join us if you're free.
Yeah,
So we
what-
have
What day you guys talking on that one?
we have a special coming up. We usually go online Thursday nights for that show, usually around the same time, 10 p.m. But what we're doing is we have a special thing coming up for St. Patty's Day, which is coming up.
Oh yeah.
So we are going to do the. I'll let Poe explain it, but we're titling it the St. Patty's Day. I guess we're going to call it the St. Patty's Day Drink Off.
And now, is this on a Wednesday?
It'll be Thursday usually, typically. Sometimes we change it. It depends on the schedule.
That'd be perfect though, because
Okay.
I think this Wednesday I've got something going on, but that's Thursday coming up or next week.
We do every Thursday. Yeah, every Thursday night. So it'll be this Thursday night. The special show we're going to do is going to be March the 19th, which is in about 2-3 weeks ish.
Well,
we're
I'll
gonna have
definitely be coming for the one you guys got coming up, since it's Thursday.
Yeah.
But you said something that jogged my mind about the style of the podcast. Something interesting. But
I'll have to review the notes.
at any rate, yeah, definitely keep me a. Oh yeah, that's what it was. wanted to let you guys know because I don't know exactly what the turnaround time for it will be, but we also want to plug that we do in fact have a book coming out. Um,
Ooh,
it's a
Cool.
we do have Holly Annapolis is a publishing plethora of
okay.
multimedia, not just for music and songwriting, but also for graphic novels and novellas. So
Okay.
the thing about what's happening with this book is it's going to kind of be like a something new. You called it out. We're always trying, paving the way for a
Yep.
new blend of things. So there'll be illustrations in there, but it's going to be a novella that's
Ooh.
geared more towards like graphic novelism, but it's
Yeah.
still going to be packaged like a novel, but it's going to have um, superhuman types of stuff going on in it. So it's the if
Okay.
world,
Ooh.
and the if world is kind of like what happens when you pack Night Gallery, Alfred Hitchcock, Murder She Wrote,
Wow.
Marvel, those kind of elements all in one place, and it
Oh,
all
cool.
supernatural. It all deals with the supernatural or superhuman abilities, but it's a lexicon. So it's called the if. It's called If Scripts and Stories for Sale, the lexicon, which is what's going to prepare you for the whole If World saga,
Hmm.
different independent anthology books that are coming out. So when you get the lexicon, you'll be able to have a knowledge of what's going on in the If worlds, which are like we didn't, what if is copyrighted, but if was not. So we have the If worlds, you know.
Okay.
And so in that
Ooh.
you'll be able to you'll be able to be prepared for the stuff that we're coming up with in the future, the different stories and anthologies. So it'll kind of be like prepping you for that in some scripts that we
Wow.
have floating off in the industry. So you'll get a chance to actually see those scripts, whether they're used in movies or not.
Wow, that's really cool. So
Wow.
that's something for the save the wish list. There you go. That is
Yeah.
pretty freaking cool. I gotta say, yeah, we'll keep you guys posted for more for that for sure. That if you guys are interested there, for anybody at home watching and listening, definitely keep that in mind. But yeah, we'll plug it. But this has been an awesome show. Again, special thanks
It's
to
awesome.
Mr. Skin and Bones for joining us again. We'll be definitely coming back. We'll keep you updated on the schedule for that. I'll send you a message. Actually, we'll create probably create a group text for all of us too. We kind of have one, but we'll do another one just so everybody's kind of on the same page.
Oh yeah.
If you have my direct line, it's always beautiful. In closing, that's kind of why I do despise certain aspects of social media, only because I know it's a safety net for a lot of people, but when we're doing it when we're using this as a product platform, that's one thing. But
Yeah.
have my line, bro. You can hit me up. You don't have to call me, but you can text. Definitely.
Yeah, no, we'll create a group text there. We'll usually sometimes communicate that way, like, hey, update for a show. The show's going on tonight at such and such. So we're all kind of familiar with that. So we'll just plug you in there. We'll put Poe in there. I'll get Big Hoss in there. Pretty much all of us who pretty much do most of the on-air stuff there. I'll throw Deanie in there just so we can keep track of things because he likes to keep track with us also. So, but yeah, that'll be great. But yeah, we do. So the party show will be this coming Thursday, which is let's see, what's today, the 21st. That's the 26th, I think, of February, if I'm not mistaken.
Unless there's something catastrophic that occurs, knock on wood.
Okay. Yeah, no, we'll definitely hit you up that early in the week. We'll send a reminder for everybody, but we usually go live 10 p.m. is the Three Amigos, the Party Show podcast, so we'll do that. But that'll be great. Yeah, we look forward to more. So you guys, again, check out Skin and Bones there. Not going to be hard to find if you Google them there. And again, they'll affiliated here with us, so we'll keep you guys plugged in with everything. We'll share a bunch of stuff. If you guys are following us, check out our social media. Make sure you follow because all updates and things there. You can check out. It includes our website as well, j&jproductionstudios.com. You guys can go watch episodes like direct here to YouTube, which stream there. We'll post updates and share things there as well. And again, sign up for emails. You can do the email subscribe list. It'll give you notifications when we have new episodes. That way you'll remember, especially when we have shows like this. We create it ahead of time. It schedules it. It'll give you an alert that the show is going to be live so you don't miss anything. You can check out Poe's stuff. Check out our stuff there at Three Amigos. Everything else for the network that we have. A bunch of other things coming up too as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. Plenty more coming. We're really glad that we could do this for you guys tonight. Again, we missed it last week, but hey, better late than never. Everybody's recharged and refreshed. I was burned too. I know how the feeling goes. It was a busy weekend too, so It kind of worked out anyways. But sometimes good things come to those who wait, right? So it was worth that, and plenty more stuff to come too. So check out more. Stay tuned for more. We're glad you guys are here. And you guys want to give a final sign-off shout-out, go ahead.
Yeah, just want to give a shout out to the Busy Bone fam, Black Caesar,
Yeah.
Weezy, Baby Phil, rest in peace, Little Caesar, of course, Dini Mussolini, the
Yep.
Zoo Life, Brooklyn Zoo, G Clef, everybody who fucks with Skin and Bones, man. All the communities, the indie pop community, man. J&J, my guy Poe, man. It's been illustrious. Zoo, woo, feel me?
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Poe, you got a final thought you want to share? Oh, wait, I got one for you, but let's see what he says first.
Yeah, so I just say much love to everybody watching, whether it's on Facebook and YouTube, everybody from the Bone Thug community. We had a lot of fans of Skin and Bones reacting and leaving me comments on Facebook, and I'm pretty sure we got a lot of people on the YouTube, so I'm glad you guys were excited. We hope you guys enjoy this interview. Much love to Skin and Bones for coming on. He's an awesome dude, great artist, great person, and man, can't wait to hear the new music and all the books. All the cool stuff he got coming out, man. Like we said, this is the new era. So, and we thank everyone that's supporting, and much love to you guys. And have a magical night. That's
and what else? What's your tidbit on drinking there? What do we share with people?
Oh well, for me, I learned not to day drink. Good thing that wasn't like an official show. That was just me by myself. But still, no more day drinking with my friends early, and then drinking more.
Because we tend to pass out live on the air, on camera, and we can't do anything about it. So,
yeah, shout out to the Holly Dappers community as also everybody that's out there. Ozzy Inc., Veteray, Illy Octane, GHE, every Nikki Neptune, everybody that fucks with your boy Skinner, Wham, Who Done It Films, just everybody that fucks with us the wrong way. Ramasai, y'all know who you are. Everybody else, man. Get on or get left behind. You feel me?
Feel it. Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you, guys. And remember, check us out where you can get all your podcast streaming services like iHeartRadio, Spotify, and SoundCloud. We're all there. Video of interviews like this and shows like this on YouTube, on Twitch. We're going to see. We got Rumble set up. We're going to do that. So we're branching out. You shouldn't be able to find us. But again, check out our Linktree, linktree.com/J_J Production Studios. You can find all of our socials. All the streaming services, our merchandise store. If you guys want some knickknacks and some fun things, everything is there. If you want to support us too, you can also get an official Patreon subscription. That's going to involve more content that is not seen. It's going to be some exclusive stuff there if you support us there. We appreciate that. Check us out on social media. Also, again, check out our sponsor website, BorgersRareCoins.com. That's also on Linktree as well. But we wish you guys a very happy rest of your weekend. And if you're like, well, most of us, I'm not sure how far it's going to branch out, but we got this snowstorm coming, so be safe if it does hit you. Who knows what we're going to get? It could be anywhere from, I think, 8 to 12 is the last thing I heard. So winter's not gone. Old man winter's not finished yet, so we have one more good dumping coming. So just everybody be safe. You don't have to travel. Don't travel. If you missed this live, don't worry. It's going to be up on our YouTube channel. You can check it out. That's available. And I will share the link there for Brother Bones. So you can pass that along as well. I'm going to link that to our socials and stuff as well. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Plenty more to come. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Coming up this week is the next Three Amigos episode. We'll party. We'll have a good time. Some drinking, some laughs. Who knows what's going to happen? Big Hoss always has a bunch of... He will probably share stories that you're going to want to hear that might scar you for life, just to forewarn you. We don't pre-script it. We don't proofread anything. So one only knows what comes out there. I'm still scarred from the last story that we heard. So just to give you, we don't want, since if Bone comes in, I don't want you to be surprised. I want you to be prepared. So,
what happened?
Yeah. So you might need a drink you need a couple drinks after some of these stories. We'll put it that way. Yeah, all that good stuff and more. We'll get you guys there. There you go. Yeah, get started now. Be ready for the show. But again, you guys, we love you. Thank you so much for the support. Again, check out Skin and Bones there. Check out all that stuff. Much love to the Bones and Thug family, everybody there. We'll see you guys again. We'll plan and we'll keep you posted when we have more interviews scheduled as well. We'll keep you guys abreast of that. And that's going to do it here for us, though. J&J Production Studios, the What's Up Bro podcast show on the newly crowned Airway Kingdom Network, where you can find all of these shows, everybody affiliated with us. We'll catch you guys next time. Again, don't be a stranger. Follow us. Much love and peace to everybody. Good night.
Peace.
Goodbye.
Love.
And we always say here, of course, until next time, when we see each and hopefully every one of you at the show. Good night, everybody. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for listening to the What's Up Bro show. Catch all the latest live action on your favorite podcast streaming services, including Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more. You can also check out episodes on the studio's official YouTube channel. Subscribe and become a member today. Don't forget to also turn on notifications so you'll know when new content is uploaded. Stay tuned and don't miss a single moment. We love and appreciate all your support. And as always, we will see you at the show.